Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Goldfield Trading Post, California Army National Guard, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Francisco 49ers final preseason game is this Friday, but there is still a quarterback competition for the backup. Sorry about that. The San Francisco 49ers final preseason game is this Friday, but there is still a quarterback competition for the backup position, according to head coach Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan said that the number 2 quarterback will be named before their Week 1 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that could still change during the season. You can listen to Friday's Niners-Chargers game right here on Sactown Sports. The Oakland A's will try and get their second 3-game sweep of the season today when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Adrian Martinez will be on the bump for the A's to go up against Cole Reagans of the Royals. First pitch is scheduled for 12:37. Those are your headlines. Now let's get started with Whitey and Watkins.
They gonna take it for a W.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car. It's a show specifically for you, Sacramento. Whitey.
She got a new song out of this anyway. Hoops, I did it again. So that's right. Hello, is this on?
Nope.
Watkins.
I'm sorry. I know I don't want to be the wet blanket on everybody.
It's Whitey and Watkins, and it starts.
Hurry up!
Now, or is it now?
No, it's now.
It's now?
Now.
It's like double
Now.
Dutch. I'm trying to
Now.
time it. I'm
Yeah.
going to get there.
Yeah, it's a little
Now.
bit like some double Dutch,
The
a little,
rhythm
you
of
know.
it.
Yeah, you got to see it. You got
Did
to
you
see
do that
it.
well?
No,
Yeah.
no. Never got up to double Dutch, but I could do like,
The
just
standard
the
jumper.
one.
Oh, you
yeah,
could do
one
the-
on each
The
side.
Turner?
Couldn't do the Turner
Really?
myself. No, not like where you,
Oh,
you
not
you
with
bring
tricks.
them together or anything.
But if
no.
you were just on one end flipping the rope, you could do that.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
definitely.
And I think I could get in the time of one rope.
Yes.
Like when they're doing like the
Yeah,
two and they're, they're down to
Yeah.
hand. Like, get out of here.
Yeah,
That's, it's
that
talent.
that was way too much.
I don't have to do that.
No, I was like, I can't break dance and jump rope at the same time.
You can't?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Could you
no.
break dance though?
No.
So it was that was the problem.
That
You
was
could
really the
jump rope.
problem. Yeah.
You just couldn't break dance and jump rope just
Yeah.
because you couldn't break dance.
Well, I shouldn't say couldn't. I just never tried. You know,
Really?
maybe if I just was,
Yeah, it wasn't a
unnatural or
thing
something,
really.
never.
Like when you were like when I was a kid, like that was kind of a thing, and I did my part to try.
I would say around the time that I was jump roping, yes, breakdancing was also still in fashion,
Mhm.
but I was also in like kindergarten. So,
Yeah, okay.
I just didn't quite have the knowledge. I probably in my head thought I could break dance really
that's
well.
what I
but
did. I
you
thought
know,
I
yeah.
could do it. I thought, look, I'm killing it,
Yeah.
and people are like, no, you're.
I feel like breakdancing has a very high approval rating amongst children. I don't know if that's still the case, but I remember growing up and going to family functions and stuff. And whenever, kids hit the dance floor, I just feel like they're always like, all right, everybody clear out.
I need
clear
my
out.
space.
This is me time. And, they might as well bring out the cardboard and
Yeah.
everything. And they just hit the ground and just start, I don't know what they do.
So we have different age gaps here. Christopher Law, did you breakdance? Did you ever experiment, tinker?
No,
No.
which is very strange that Chris is saying that because he's much younger than me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember it being like out when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
thought that was weird. Like I thought it was more when I was a kid
Yeah.
and then it felt like it went away. But you said it was kind of back in a
I
little
mean,
bit.
I would say it was definitely a thing still.
Or people do
was-
it now, but like that's
Yeah.
that's a specific thing that they've just enjoyed doing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just kind of the customary, like I think of it more like in-game entertainment
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Okay.
it was still breakdancing is still like a really cool thing. It might have been like a dying fad at that point, but
Right.
it felt like it was still very much like a thing that was, you would have been cool to do headstands,
Yeah.
and, spinning on your head and whatever else, the kick outs and all that stuff.
So here's how things were, especially, I mean, back in my day,
Yeah.
seriously, when I was a kid, there wasn't all the things that we have privy to, social media and all
Right.
this kind of stuff.
But the story was, and I think this was the urban myth, was the
Yeah.
legend back then that, kids were breakdancing. And at the time, it was known as that kid from Silver Spoons broke his neck doing the headstand.
That's what I was going to ask. Where does that
Alfonso
come from?
Ribeiro, who clearly, was like paralyzed and is
Right.
in a wheelchair. He's, is he still in America's Funniest Home Videos?
I
I don't know if
believe
that's
so,
on,
yeah.
but does the Carlton and all
Yeah,
that. He's fine. He's
And
okay.
he loves when you ask him to do it.
Oh, I know.
I'm
I've
sure the
heard that.
Carlton can't.
But he's had to have heard the story. I don't know who made it up,
Yeah.
but it's certainly, without social media, it was it
Right.
traveled.
Yeah.
And so I remember having a cousin like in another state, and they're like, no, I heard that too. I'm like, wait, he's like in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We're in California. How is this story swirled around
That's so incredible.
kids? You can't. Mom says don't do the headstand because you'll
Yeah.
break your neck and you'll be paralyzed.
Wasn't it the Mikey from the Life commercials with the Pop Rocks?
Yes.
Isn't that up
if you,
there too?
If you eat Pop Rocks, like you'll explode. Like Pop Rocks,
Rocks
like
and soda.
And soda. Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like something along those lines. My parents used to tell me when I was a kid, and I never actually thought about it, whether it was true or not, until I was older. Was they would tell me that corn nuts, like you couldn't eat corn nuts because
Something
your
with your
teeth
teeth?
would fall out. Essentially, like it's too hard for
Yeah.
your teeth. Maybe I was just a kid, and maybe you have some loose teeth as a kid, and maybe it would produce that. But that was
At
that
what point
along
did
those
you
lines.
transition to because there was a while like my parents, anything they said was gospel.
Yeah, 100%.
So my dad hated Vans, like slip-ons, and
Uh-huh.
I would always get I wanted to, and he
Yeah.
goes, if you get those, your teeth will fall out. How that
You're s-
correlated for a while, I was like, oh well, then I better not get Vans.
Yeah, you better get some Vans.
He got me,
That's incredible.
and
yeah,
then I was like, I think he's wrong.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure that out.
I mean, I just feel like there's a natural defiance amongst children.
Yeah.
Like once they hit,
I don't know what age that
11,
is.
12,
I
once
think it took me
puberty really
longer.
starts. Yeah. Once you're interested in, girls and,
Yeah.
and boys.
It was
and all
last
that
week for me.
stuff,
I finally
yeah.
figured I found myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, I can form my own thought. And
Yeah.
then I feel like a lot of adulthood is just relearning things that you thought were true as a
Yeah.
child. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I mean, biggest of course being like you personally have to pay for things, but just a lot of adulthood
I'm
is just
responsible.
is figuring out responsibility, and things don't just kind of happen.
Yeah, I think and then you get to that part where it's like, I'm now not listening to anything they say. And then as you also get older, you're like,
Yeah, like,
yeah,
I
they were
probably
kinda right.
should have
That was
listened
actually,
to a lot.
he was right, or she
Yeah.
was right on that one.
Yeah, and then I feel like once you have kids, it comes
Cycle
full
through again.
circle, and
Yep.
it's just like I understand why my parents said corn nuts will make my
Yes.
teeth fall out. in
Because I'm
Vans.
using the
Yeah,
same line.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
crazy,
It all
as
makes
your
sense.
parents get older, then you become that person
Yes.
that
Yes.
has to tell them
Teach them.
Teach them.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't give your credit card number to
It's a
the email
scam.
that you have.
Yeah, you can't answer that call. Yeah.
The
But they're
people that taught
starving.
us,
Yeah.
hey, not everything on the internet is real.
Right.
You're telling them now,
Yeah.
hey, not everything on the internet is real.
It's
Yeah, but
so
they
true.
sounded really nice on the
Yeah.
phone. No.
They sounded like they really need my money.
Yes. Just trying to help
They do.
all of the country.
Yeah. It's sad.
Well, welcome into this is Whitey and Watkins. I am not either of those.
No, you're not.
I
not-
am Jason Ross. You are
Hello.
Chris Watkins. Whitey will be with us with Drapes at 2.
Yeah.
Following us today on the show, we got a lot to cover, including Sean Cunningham is going to join us
Yeah.
1 hour from now. Talk a lot of things, certainly Kings, but he had a chance to talk to, I guess, the newest King, but we reunited with Skal.
Yeah.
He's coming back. That was a cool interview.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched it this morning, and Skal obviously has a lot of ties here to in Sacramento from his first stint there. But it was just really interesting to hear. It really seemed like the main theme of that interview was Skal's a much different person.
Yeah.
Than he, really emphasized his maturity and how much he's grown in his I think it's been 3 years since he's been with
That's
the team.
crazy.
It really is crazy, and it was also interesting for me to hear that he said he matured, because I remember thinking when he was first here in Sacramento, I was like, this kid seems like he's got a really good head on
I
his
thought that
shoulders,
too.
everything, and
Yeah.
and he really emphasized like, no, I'm a completely different person from that guy, and,
Yeah.
and I'm interested to figure that side out as well.
Yeah, so that's about an hour from now. We got a lot of football. We're going to be all over the place. We got
Yeah.
a bold Kings prediction of the day. We got Factor Fantasy. I am a one-time player officially in the year. I'm 1-0, Chris. I don't know if that's intimidating for you, but the only time I've ever played, I won.
Yeah, no, it's definitely intimidating. I listened yesterday. The fact
Is it
that you
deserved?
no, but it's okay.
Wow,
It's
we're starting that way.
well,
I argued the wrong point.
Look, that's exactly
that was
what I
a
was going to
major
say.
flaw.
But I will also say, now that you've been in the hot seat
Yeah.
before, it's a tougher game than it appears. And I heard you say that you used to listen to them do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm
in the car. I'm undefeated.
Undefeated.
But
absolutely.
Like, oh wait, I have to really answer.
Yeah.
Formulate thoughts.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough to be in the hot seat. It's it definitely the first couple times I did it, I was like, this is not nearly. It seems fun. It seems I can come up with a sports take either side, but. Right. It's it's a little bit of a hot seat there.
Plus, I've noticed Chris does a little switcheroo sometimes.
Sometimes
it's like we've got a plan.
Sometimes he does it straight up though, and it's tough.
Well,
it's tough.
He moved. He moved the chairs yesterday. Yeah, and I was not ready for it.
Yeah, no,
but that ended up being my best response.
Always keeps you on your toes.
Yes. So that's coming up today. Lots of football, like we said, basketball as well. Some baseball yesterday. The Giants will be in action during the show. We'll keep you up to date during that too. But it was a much anticipated debut for Kyle Harrison. Everybody's so excited, and stats are okay. Got his strikeouts. Yeah. Didn't go as long as I thought they would, and I don't know if there was a pitch limit, but Bryce Harper got him early, which is, a legend.
It's a welcome to the MLB kind of moment,
and more importantly, really bigger picture, Chris. We talked yesterday about the debut, but Giants, that was a tough loss, blew a game late.
Yeah.
And, for the first time in a long time, they're on the wild card picture.
I know. Yeah. Just to start with the debut was a good showing. You and I both guessed yesterday what a stat line would be. We came pretty close. Yeah. We didn't get the innings right.
No, because they went. Why did they pull them so quickly?
I have no idea. Yeah. So quickly. I know the Giants tend to be a little funny with how they do their pitchers, but if it was his debut, he had 5 strikeouts in 3 innings.
Pitches. He could have gone more.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him maybe finish out that inning, or maybe even go an additional inning on top of that. But nonetheless, you want to keep it positive. Why keep him out there? And maybe the possibility of him getting shelled late in the outing and kind of ruining his confidence. Quit while you're ahead. Yeah. I can understand that, but the really big thing is also that second thing you mentioned. I think it is interesting to me, the fact that the Giants have really kind of, especially since the trade deadline, doubled down a little bit on this youth movement. They're playing Meckler now. They have Harrison making his debut at this point in the season. It's interesting to me that it doesn't really, these don't scream moves that are, hey, we're trying to win a wild card spot or, improve our spot in the standings. It's kind of seems like they're kind of trying to balance this 2 timeline thing where they are still trying to develop their young guys and get their young guys in there, but at the same time competing. And I think they're finding the struggle in that balance. Right now.
And it's been predictable based on the stretch they've had, but now they're continuing to lose series. And losing to the Braves, losing to the Phillies, these things happen. But I still go back to kind of how it got started. The 2 losses to the A's. They had a couple bad losses before that, so they're in a rut now, and they can still save it. It's not like they're buried.
Absolutely.
But you just don't want to kill that confidence that this team has bounced back many times this year, and maybe they'll do it again. But soon you're gonna have to do it against the Phillies and the Braves and to really get the bounce back.
Yeah, absolutely. And bigger picture as well. If you're looking at the offseason here, a good reason why the Giants, as from an organizational standpoint, would be motivated to finish strong is if you're trying to make a pitch for Shohei Ohtani, it makes it a lot better of a pitch if you can say, hey, we're a playoff team with a ton of young guys. We just really feel like we need a big boost. Whereas if you really falter that second half of the season, you can still obviously claim youth, but the success is going to be a big part of the Ohtani pitch. I feel like, it's going to be a collective thing, but it obviously would help massively, I think, to that recruiting pitch. If they can say, we've got a young core, but we also really think that you can take us to possibly, it doesn't have to be next year, but in the very near future, you could take us to another level.
Well, you mentioned Shohei Ohtani. When we come back, we will talk about the Angels' decision to stick with him. Everybody's back for that team, and they're going the wrong way. And as we mentioned, the Giants, for the first time in over a month, they are on the outside of the wild card race. We'll kind of talk about that. Lots of football, NBA, Sean Cunningham, Factor Fantasy, Bold Kings Prediction, Crossover, the jam-packed show. We take you till 2 right here on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Enjoy the prime grilling season today with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My personal Napoleon P500 series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
Don't wait, the giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Now, Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
We do encourage you to check us out on YouTube. Hello. And I think by the camera angle, what's good today, Chris?
What's that?
I'm far enough away. You can't see this eye. Sorry, you have to
shiner.
look at it. Is it one of those things? Are you looking directly at it? Do you look at my other eye? Do you not look at it?
I'm almost like looking
In
like
between, like,
at the bridge of your nose. I just
point.
like, yeah. I mean, one sign is definitely a lot glossier than the other, but no, I'm not. It's not really bothering me too much.
What's great and not great, Chris Verlotta has no filter.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
well, especially when it comes to you.
Yeah, we were walking in. Oh God!
Oh gosh!
I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it. He's like, I'm like,
yeah. You're just like, what? Is there a spider or something?
Good to see you, Chris.
That was because I know you've been dealing with it. That was like, oh man, like I know you've been trying to get it down and it's getting worse.
It's worse. My wife did the same thing. She's like, oh no, it's worse today. I go, no, it doesn't. Like yesterday, it actually hurt. It, like, I don't
Today
feel
it's just
it didn't hurt. It's just now more
because it's now taking over your body.
So you are now one with the
tomorrow.
sty.
I'm in, and it's just.
I actually feel great, guys.
You look terrible.
Terrible.
Are you a car guy by chance at all? Can you fix your if you?
No.
Dang it.
I won't even like try to act like I'm remotely. I barely know where like the washer fluid, like the window washing fluid is.
My deal with cars, like once I get one, I'm gonna drive it forever. Like our car, it's my wife's car now, but it's 275,000 miles on it. So I mean, it's a great car, 2004. Love it.
She doesn't have much life left.
Yeah, and like every light is on, but it all works.
You all ignore it.
Yes.
You're just like, it's fine.
Probably 6 months ago, driving it, and then boop, radio went out. Like out in mid
the radio.
Yeah, and I'm like, well,
that's
car's
the one part of the car I have never heard just die.
So it went out, and then like the panel, like by the way, like all those lights, the clock, and I'm like, okay. So then I'm I can go to YouTube like anyone else. I'm like, I think I can fix this. Change the fuse. Didn't work.
Yeah,
the
car now doesn't start.
But so now I'm used to no radio, air conditioning. All that's fine.
Okay,
but it's just a lot of my own thoughts, or listen to the phone or whatever. And then just 2 days ago, randomly driving down the road, beep, 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 almost like your seatbelt's not plugged in. The seatbelt's it's in. It's like the seatbelt sensor, but it doesn't stop. That's a hard one to deal with. Jeez. And I went, all right.
It might be time.
It might be time, but I also feel like if I could just get the noise away, and is that another fuse? Like, so I was hoping you or Chris or somebody knew how to just, my cure was ball up the fist and
just bang it.
Just a smash on the dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't work.
That's all reliable right there. It's
you know who I think can help you?
Oh,
Jay Johnson.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Jay is a car guy.
He can get that.
I mean, like people like cars, but like I need someone that can work on cars.
For sure.
And I think Jay can do that. And it's probably something really simple, but I don't know of any other reason why there would be an audible beep. Like it's like signifying I didn't have my seatbelt on, but it's on.
Yeah. It's probably
it's
like a sensor or something that's just, I guess it's not dead or else it wouldn't be going off.
And then I get to a stoplight, it stops.
Really?
Beep, beep.
See, no, that's terrible.
Or the other option is if I go backwards, it doesn't go. So I might drive backwards.
Just drive backwards.
I did have a cousin who her car, whenever she would turn left, the horn would. So we're just driving down the neighborhood and just.
That's actually funny. Does she purposely go right? Like do longer roundabouts to get home?
This is a long time. This is like when.
How long did she deal with that?
I don't think it was very long.
That's
And
pretty funny.
Her dad
though.
was a mechanic, but that was
That's
great.
She's
like
not
just
sneaking up on
randomly
anybody.
the horn honks. Oh my gosh.
Bad car for a drive-by, I guess. I don't know.
Was your laptop in the passenger seat? No, I don't think that's
Wow.
No.
No.
Nothing.
I don't think cars operate
No.
like planes either. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
So
think
you didn't
there's
get like
any-
a Bluetooth or something for your car? Like a Bluetooth speaker?
Nope.
I've never heard of the radio dying in your car.
In mid-drive, like, maybe like sometimes when you,
yeah.
you've like this car for me, sometimes you turn it off, turn it on, like something weird's happened. I'm like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Just we're back in business. And I thought the one time it started, I don't know. I've now parked, went in. Maybe we're good. I start driving. Beep, beep. I'm like, dang it.
You know what's going to happen
without
now.
a radio to drown it
Yeah.
out. I put all the windows
Exactly,
down
that's
just
the
to
thing. No, just I guess the wind
hear
sound at
something
least
else,
is
but
better.
you still hear it. And
I
I
feel
can't
like
talk on the phone, somewhere.
yeah,
like,
right.
you
It's
feel
just
like
in the back. Boop,
Are you
boop.
backing
Yeah.
up? No.
Are you driving a tractor right now?
Then
What's
I
happening?
honk. Are you turning left?
Yeah.
No.
What's going to happen now is you're just going to either turn your car on or just be driving casually on the freeway, and then all of a sudden your radio is going to turn back on and it's going to be on like
Yeah.
30, and it's
Yes.
just going to be
What I was
Beethoven
last
symphony.
listening to.
Just exactly, just blaring at you. Just wait. Just wait.
Well, if you
You
guys
need
know,
to get that fixed.
I
And
do.
It's time. I think it's time to at least look for new options.
For your YouTubers out there, if you have a quick fix, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to Jay Johnson. I think that's a good idea, Chris. So the Giants, we mentioned, Chris, they lose yesterday. They get the Phillies today. They're going to be playing in a little bit. Braves coming here next with an off
Goodness
day.
gracious.
So it's just they're hit with an onslaught of a schedule. But for the first time in over a month, they are out of the wild card picture. The other part about this is, to me, like you could be out, but they've brought more teams into play. I mean,
Yeah.
Arizona's leapfrogged them. I'm not that worried about them.
No.
But here are the Reds tied with them. The
Yep.
Marlins are a half game back. Now, I still think the Padres and Mets have an immense amount of talent, but they've just been so disappointing. They may be out of the picture. But it's easier if it's like 4 for 5 spots. Now it's like, or 4 for 3 spots.
Yeah.
It's 6 for 3 spots. And the Phillies are starting to get way ahead of you.
Mhm.
And it just, they've created a little bit of a mess for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you said there is the perfect thing. Like it would be one thing if it was 4 teams fighting for 3 spots.
Yeah.
At that point you can really convince yourself that, you have a pretty good shot. But at this point with 6 teams all really clumped in there, it's obvious, but the Giants are just going to have to flat out be the best team. You're not going to back into a playoff spot there. You're going to have to go out there and win ball games. And, the Giants have kind of, especially recently fallen on some inconsistencies, and, the schedule definitely is doing them no favors, but it's going to be tough. And to go against a team in your own division against in the Diamondbacks, like it's not going to be easy for the Giants if they want to try and get that spot.
Looking at the list right now of Phillies, Cubs, Diamondbacks, Giants, Reds, Marlins, we'll keep the 6.
Yeah.
If you as a fan of
Yep.
baseball, you want 3
Huge
in,
fan.
who do you want? I mean, if you're like, okay, I'm going to watch some postseason baseball,
Right.
I would pick these 3 teams to be in. It doesn't even matter if the Phillies have the
Right.
biggest lead. Who would you want in
Yeah, I would do the Phillies, the Cubs, and then probably the Reds.
Yes,
I think the Reds are
that's the correct
so
answer.
fun. I
Yeah.
mean, that obviously
story.
the Ellie De La Cruz of it all as well. Like just to have him in the postseason, I think would be incredibly exciting. And that Reds team has been incredibly hot or was really hot about a month ago, and it has kind of leveled out a little, but I think that would be, the 3 funnest teams to have in there. Obviously
Diamondbacks and Marlins get lost.
I would say overall, I would love to see the Padres and the Mets both make it, like you said, just for the talent level that they have. But there's no way. It'd be very unlikely if one makes it. It would be just about impossible for both of them.
I mean, it's about go time and like a crazy finish. I think most teams are about 35 games left. I mean, the Padres are going to have to do something like, 22 and 13, which, I mean, they've got 60 wins now in 100 and something games. And now you need to win over a third of that in the likely not happening. They have the talent to do it.
Yeah.
But every time, like, if they win maybe 2 in a row, I'm like, here they come.
Here they come.
And
Yeah.
then they lose 4 straight. You're like, yeah, they're not very good.
No. And, that's as a casual baseball fan, when you ask me, what teams do I want to see? I want to see the stars. And, the especially the Padres have 3 or now 4 of some of the most exciting young players in baseball. And it's really, it's honestly, it's bad for the sport for them to not be in the postseason. But, if they can't make it, if the Mets can't make it, then I'm definitely okay with, Joey Votto still on the Reds as well. I'm okay with the Reds making it. Arizona, though, no.
Yeah,
There's nothing
Miami,
exciting
Arizona,
about the
just
Diamondbacks, no.
those fans of those teams, sure, but
yeah,
other than that,
all good to you.
American League, it's going to hurt me because this is my standard always for the Yankees. Like, usually they make the playoffs. Usually they haven't been winning the World Series. And of all the teams I like, kind of my stance on them, Chris, is like, well, this probably sounds bad as a fan, but I'm like, there is next year.
Yeah.
Like, I always feel like they compete and they're in a chance.
Right.
And, like, the Kings this last year was so unique, so special. I do think they're going to keep this going.
Right.
But they may not, and it may be like, oh, I remember that one year. That was fun.
Exactly.
Like, more times than not, the Yankees are going to be in the mix.
Yeah.
They're just bad this year, and they're having some epic
really bad
failures. And then I think about the Angels, who I think did the right thing to stay in on Ohtani, but this isn't going to help their case to keep him.
Maybe I'm too into basketball and don't understand enough about the baseball intricacies, but I just feel like what I've learned is if you know that a player's leaving, just get what you can for it and wash your hands of the situation.
Anything?
Call it a day. I mean, it's better than nothing. Like the illusion that there was any possibility of Shohei staying with the team. I mean, they had their chance to make it work, and it at no point did it seem like it was ever going to turn around. Just cut your losses at that point. I know you don't want to be the GM or the owner that traded Shohei Ohtani, but you can get a lot.
You don't want to be the one that had him walk.
That's also true. I mean, either way, he's gone. Yeah. I would just rather, for the betterment of your organization, get something back from him. I mean, this is the most unique player we've seen in maybe in the history of baseball, if not in a very, very, very long time. Even if it's minimal returns because you're only getting him for a half-season rental, you're still going to get something significant in return.
That'll be hard to explain to people 40 years from now. When you go, like, Trout's one of the best players of all time. Shohei is a unicorn of all time. And how good were they? Like, how do you explain, like, they didn't make the playoffs that when they were together for several years?
Yeah. I mean, did they even ever finish above 500 with him?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or I think they've been right at 500. No, that is the stat. I think the only team in the last 5 to 6 years, the only one that hasn't been above 500. Now they've been like 80 and 82. It's the Angels, the only one. Like, there's terrible teams. The A's have been above 500. The Marlins,
multiple times.
The Orioles, after all these, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot of football to get to. When we come back, we're almost here at the start of the NFL season. And people brag about our division's the best, our division's the best. Well, who is the best? Chris and I will look at the 8 divisions in football, give our rankings from top to bottom. We've got that next on Whitey and Watkins.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Cunningham. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Arnold Law Firm. I'm Dirk Verdorn in the KCRA3 Weather Center, and sunny skies today and a bit of a north breeze, helping to bump temperatures into the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. Expect to have a warm evening tonight. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
At the UPS store, you can ship it all. We're your bulky sports equipment shipping store, your heavy luggage shipping store, your fancy art shipping store, we're even your I can't believe it's already time for back to school shipping store. So visit your neighborhood We Ship It All store for dependable UPS shipping with easy-to-use tracking and competitive rates. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. The UPS store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, the A's' Brent Rooker had only 25 at-bats last year for the Royals before they designated him for assignment in the offseason. Well, now it took the A's only 2 days to sign him, and on Monday the 21st, Rooker's career came kind of full circle in a way, as his walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning gave the A's a 6-4 win over the Royals. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
Whether you're shopping for your favorite Honda online or in person, you'll see why Stockton Honda is the #1 Honda dealer in Northern California, and why buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Visit in person or online at StocktonHonda.com, where your favorite Honda is ready for you.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own report.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Laud with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Francisco 49ers final preseason game is this Friday, but there is still a quarterback competition for the backup position, according to head coach Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan said that the #2 quarterback will be named before their Week 1 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that could still change during the season. You can listen to Friday's Niners-Chargers game right here on Sactown Sports. The Oakland A's will try to get their second 3-game sweep of the season today when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Adrian Martinez will be on the bump for the A's to go up against Cole Reagans and the Kansas City Royals. First pitch is scheduled for 12:37. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
He is Chris Watkins. I am Jason Ross. Whitey Gleason will be in this afternoon. We'll have a chance to talk with him. And Kyle Drapers, they'll be doing the show today from 2 until 6. We do appreciate you checking with us today. Certainly follow us and hit that thumbs up button, please, while you're here on the YouTube page. Thank you for joining us here. We do appreciate that on Sactown Sports. Lots of good content, too. Check out our website. A lot of people working very hard there. Sactownsports.com. Emil, we heard earlier today with Carmichael David J. Mars. Frankie and just Joe and lots of people, Nate, all of us trying to put content out there for all of you. So we appreciate you taking the time to check out SactownSports.com. All right, 2 weeks from tomorrow, the NFL starts. I mean, this preseason stuff's cute, Chris.
It is.
I'm going to go with cute.
It's adorable.
It's adorable, but it needs to mature. It needs to grow up and be an adult, and that adulthood starts 2 weeks from tomorrow, the NFL regular season. And people are going to brag about this is the year of our team and fantasy football drafts, all that's coming up. But let's kind of look at the big picture of the divisions, because I feel like people, and you're a Vikings fan, so I don't know if you support the NFC North, or it might be a case like, no, I hate every other team in my division. But does it make you feel any better if your division's considered good, unless it's considered good and then you win the division?
No,
I care about the division.
As an individual fan, I feel like you should always root for everybody in your division to be terrible.
Okay.
I think you want the easiest path to the playoffs possible. You want to secure that, and if you are head and shoulders the best team in your division, I just think it's best to have a safe season and then figure the rest out in the playoffs. I think we've seen enough in the NFL playoffs that there's a good amount of parity that happens, and it's just about making the tournament. You truly do with a single elimination format. You really do have a chance of just getting hot at the right point in the season. And if you are coasting through your division, you can really pick up a lot of confidence wins along the way. And I think, especially in the NFL, confidence in peaking at the right time goes a really long way. So I'm a big proponent of you want your division to be as weak as possible. And I definitely am not rooting for any of the teams in my division. I'm not the Kings are eliminated. Well, let's go Northern California, go Warriors.
I found that, just to piggyback on that, when some people are like, I don't know who to root for, Kings or Warriors or Lakers in that next round. I'm
Yeah.
like, I was anti-Warrior.
Can both teams lose?
I know
also?
exactly,
Like,
but I mean, and when you're anti-Warrior, it's like you want the Lakers to win. I'm like, that feels different.
That's not what I said.
No, I thought of the two, like the team that defeated the Kings was the Warriors. Yes, I didn't like the way Steph ended with 50 and the mock beam and Draymond stomping on. I don't like the Lakers.
Can't do that.
You can't. And I don't like the Lakers, but I wasn't going, go LeBron.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
of the two, I would have preferred the Lakers to win.
Exactly. You got to weigh your options, and one is an enemy that is very real, very close, and very recent, and the other one's an old foe.
It wasn't Shaq, Kobe, and Phil.
Exactly.
If they
It's
were on
not
that
the same
team, I would have been like,
faces.
no, that team is
Also,
not winning.
I feel like you have to root against the fan base that you're the most annoyed with at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that 50-50 though on that?
I think at that moment in time,
it's
it
Warriors.
was
Yes.
Warriors for sure. It was a
Yeah.
lot more
in
fresh.
general. I think it lands more in LA for me, but at that moment, that was newer. That was fresh. That was the fresh wound.
It's a pretty 50-50 split for me.
Is it?
I think I have enough of both sides in my life to where they equally get under my skin.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
again, it kind of depends on the day that you ask me.
I mean, it's again when you say rooting, like, I preferred the Lakers to beat the Warriors. Then when the Lakers played the Nuggets, I'm like, I hope they get swept. And they did. I'm like,
exactly.
This worked out pretty well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can work out. It can all work out seamlessly.
Something I think also helped it is because watching that Warriors-Lakers series, I felt like the Kings could beat the Lakers.
Yeah, I felt the same way. And I have Laker friends that are like, you wouldn't have. I'm like, okay, well, we can't prove it, but I do think they would have.
Yep. I definitely
don't think they would have beat Denver.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have beat Phoenix, but
Nope.
they didn't get either one. And
Exactly. I feel the same exact
That's what
way.
I thought.
Yep.
All right. So as we look at the 8 divisions, some years you get teams with 3. Maybe, I mean, it could happen. You get 4 teams in the playoffs. You might just get one. Someone's got to win a division. Like last year, what's the record of Tampa? Yeah, 8-9.
I think 8-9. Yeah,
And they got through, and you're a playoff team. You're in the tournament.
Yep.
So let's go from 8 to 1 in your mind. I'll have my list too of who you think. So 8 is what you think is the worst division in football. Who do you say is that?
I have the very same NFC South.
Okay.
I think it is still the worst division in football. You just mentioned it there. The fact that the Buccaneers last year went 8-9 and won the division. I think the best quarterback in that division, which is usually a good way of trying to figure out who has the best shot at winning it, is Derek Carr.
Most experience for sure.
Most experience for sure. I mean, who knows? Bryce Young might have a real shot at being the best quarterback in the division by the end of the season. Yeah. It's a really tough one to call. It's not that it's not going to be a competitive division. I just think that they're all none of them are very good, but none of them are they should be the worst team in the NFL. They definitely could, but everybody's got something that they can at least convince themselves of why they could win the division. But at the end of the day, we're talking, I think, again, about an 8-9, maybe a 9-8 team winning this division.
I have the same as you. I have the NFC South, which will be interesting later when we're kind of talking about teams we think will get in the playoffs and will get out. I actually might have 2 teams from this getting in.
Really?
But I think they're not well-rounded. It's not a great overall.
No.
And I almost moved them up 1, but I'm going to leave them at 8.
Okay.
Who's your number 7?
My number 7 is taking it to the AFC. I have the AFC South.
Okay.
I think, again, this is a division where you look at it and it's like someone's got to win. I mean, the Jaguars seem to be the crazy as it sounds, Jaguars seem to be the class of that division at this point. The Texans are pretty much in a rebuild. Colts have Anthony Richardson starting game 1. Who knows how that goes? And the Titans have definitely taken a step back. It feels like, they've gotten older as the years have gone by. Derrick Henry's another year older. Maybe this is the year the wheels finally fall off. Ryan Tannehill, we saw that the Julio Jones thing didn't quite work out for them last year. I think that this is clearly the Jaguars are the best team in the division, and the other teams really don't put any fear in me.
Okay. I'll do my next 2 because one of them includes that. I put the NFC North at 7.
Yeah.
That was a tough one for me, and 7 and 6 because at 6 I have AFC South, the one you just said. The reason I put the NFC North there at 7, your Vikings won the division, had a negative point difference. They won a bunch of close games to their credit, and a lot of people didn't believe in them, and then they lose in the first round to the Giants. Lions were fun and exciting and better. I'm not on the Fields hype train that a lot of people are. And I think the Packers are a bit of a mystery coming off a bad year with a new quarterback. So I think they can move up, but if I have to place them somewhere, I'm putting them 7, AFC South at 6.
Yeah.
So who's your 6?
I have the flop.
Okay, so we're basically...
I have NFC South at 6. So.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, NFC North at 6. I should say.
Okay, so we have basically the same 3 there. So here we go. Number 5. Who do you have?
I have the NFC West, the 49ers division. I think the Niners are good. I'm very uncertain about the Seahawks. Geno Smith did perform really well last year. He has great receivers, though I don't know if you saw Jackson Smith and Jigba got hurt yesterday. They said he's going to miss a pretty, the first couple weeks of the season. So who knows what that does for him. I mean, they obviously still have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. They should be okay, but I don't know if they're going to be – how much of last year was fool's gold. The Rams, who knows? I mean, they're playing so many rookies, still have Matt Stafford, but I think their offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL. And then the Cardinals are, just by every stretch in every single category you could, they're one of the worst organizations in football right now.
All right, so for my number 5, I'll do 5 and 4 because we're not quite on the same one. At number 5, I actually put the NFC East.
Okay.
I felt like they overachieved last year, which, off last year, they were great. They almost had all 4 get in.
Right.
Washington overachieved. I 100% think the Giants overachieved, and I give all the credit to Brian Daboll. I think that was not a great team, and he got them to 9-7-1.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys and Eagles are good, but I could see just a record drop a little bit for them.
Sure.
So this was a tough one. I put them at 5, and why I put the NFC West at 4, I think the Niners are going to be good. I actually think that there'll be a bounce back for the Rams. I'm a big believer. They had just a terrible year, but I'm with you on Seattle. I think they kind of had a better year than they should have. And Arizona, I don't know. So I think they're very similar where there's 2 top heavy and another 2 that aren't. But I'm going to favor the NFC West at 4.
Yeah, and then I have the NFC East as my number 3, actually.
Oh,
so, yeah.
So who'd you have at 4?
I have the AFC West at number 4.
Okay.
This is, the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to be like a 5 or 6 win team. I don't have a lot of hopes. Yeah, the Broncos, we'll see. They could definitely be a good bounce back story. The Chargers, you never really know what you're going to get from the Chargers. They have Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator now. Maybe that just completely opens up their offense. And then, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, they really, their resume speaks for themselves. But I think it's a competitive division, but I think it's very clear what the hierarchy is unless Denver can I think it's clearly Chiefs 1, Chargers 2. And if the Broncos and Raiders are going to be about as good as they were last year, I just don't think that. I think it's a very top-heavy division. I think the quarterbacks are all really good in that division, but I'm not a big believer in the Broncos story this year or the Raiders.
So your AFC West was 4, then the NFC East was 3?
NFC East was 3, AFC West is 4.
So I put that we flip-flopped that.
Yeah.
No, I had NFC East at 5, NFC West at 4. So I have the AFC West at 3. So we have the same 2.
Again, yeah.
A lot of AFC in the top.
Yeah.
Did you go East 2, North 1?
Yes, sir.
That's what I did.
That's exactly what I went. Yeah, wow. I mean that AFC North is just that's a
lot of AFC here.
If you try and tell me anyone from the AFC North is going to win that division, I believe you. Yeah. You could tell me the Steelers are going to win. I think that there's a lot of bad. They finished 7-2 last year. The Browns, Deshaun Watson, we've seen him be great. The Bengals, their history speaks for itself, and the Ravens have been one of the most consistent franchises in the NFL for going on like 20 years now.
I'll have more on that at noon when we're talking about the teams in and the teams out.
Yeah.
It'll be a heavy dose of AFC North for me. All right, when we come back, Niners. What's up for them as far as QB2? It's Brock Purdy time. We know that. But that second quarterback position, is it clearly Sam Darnold? Well, according to Kyle Shanahan, we don't know that, and we may not know that for a while. We've got that story and more when we come back on Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Will Brandon Ayuk emerge as a star in the Bay this season?
Now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk.
Can Fred Warner lead the Niners defense to another deep playoff run?
And Fred Warner with the INT.
Pick City, baby! Will Brock Purdy hold on to his starting quarterback job?
Purdy going to drop back to pass, try to run forward and go to the end zone standing. Down and Purdy, baby.
Tune into Niners at 9 every day on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
On Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I love being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
those stomach issues ruined your birthday?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa?
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you ready to cruise into the new school year in style? Look no further than Elk Grove Kia's Back to School sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 Forte 24-month lease of $149 plus tax of $41.30 required at signing residual of $15,256 at $10K per year. 20 cents per mile over reserve security deposit required subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8921 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K5 24-month lease of $299 plus tax of $47.12 required at signing residual of $21,782 at $10K per year. 20 cents per mile over reserve security deposit required subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
He's Chris Watkins. I'm Jason Ross. We're on Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com. As we continue here, we go till 2. Whitey and Kyle Draper will be in this afternoon. There's been so much. There was so much said for a while, Chris, and I know you and Whitey talked about it. Like, who's going to be QB1? And basically, it just like that just ended. And it's like especially when your head coach says, "Yeah, basically, Purdy's going to have to melt
into the ground to
not be our quarterback." So Purdy's the quarterback, whether you agree or just. I mean, he's QB1, so we're there. But QB2 is a battle, and seemingly, I think Darnold's played better from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Lance was not good at all in the first game. Better Saturday.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe they don't have to give up on him. I know Peter King, Whitey and I were talking about that yesterday. Peter King famously said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the league in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very possible. He wouldn't be the first player to ever have that happen to. But if Kyle Shanahan has been saying this, that, I'm going to name my QB2 like the week of Pittsburgh, which is still 2 weeks away, and then that might even change during the season. That's kind of a curious answer.
Very strange. Yeah, it's really strange that why not just commit to somebody? I mean, what unless
is it cloudy?
I mean, it's clearly cloudy. I think it is clear that they really don't have a decision on that quarterback too. I think that they see the benefit in putting Trey at that number 2, because at the end of the day, I'm sure you've said it as well, reps is the thing that Trey Lance needs. And if you're just never going to afford him those reps, how do you realistically expect him to ever get better?
Yeah.
But I mean,
But don't you think in your heart of hearts, like, let's think the worst. Purdy gets hurt today in practice, and it's bad.
Yeah.
They're starting Darnold, aren't they? Game 1?
I would think so.
I think so,
I
too.
would think so, just for the experience and the fact that they want to make sure that the ship is steadied.
Yeah.
Before that they, and I think that there is still the possibility in that case that maybe, Darnold is underwhelming and maybe, he I think Shanahan has called him the human jugs machine before, where he just throws such a beautiful ball.
Right.
That doesn't exactly.
Is it effective?
Great. Yeah. It doesn't mean that he's putting up points.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's pushing the ball down the field. It just means he can throw a nice football.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe they deem, okay, we need a little bit more of a pop. We need some explosion in this offense. Well, that's where you could maybe go to Trey Lance. I could see that being part of the conversation, but I don't really understand what the benefit would be. I just think that they need to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's, me just being an outsider and not understanding the intricacies of how fluid that really is. But I don't see what's so hard about just saying, look, Sam Darnold is a better quarterback for our system than Trey Lance is. He's our backup too. It doesn't mean we're out on Trey. It doesn't mean we're down on Trey. It just means that where he's at right now and where we are at as a team and how the system is ran, we just think Sam is the better option if Brock goes down. I don't know what's wrong with coming out and saying that.
We're caught up in and I'm saying the collective, we are all guilty of Trey Lance was picked third. They made all these trades for him.
Right.
They did.
Yeah.
Last year, everybody was comfortable with the pecking order once they picked Trey Lance.
Right.
Then it made a ton of sense for Jimmy G to be the backup. Oh, Brock Purdy's on the team. Sure, he should be third.
Mm-hmm.
That's flipped. He's now number 1. There's no question that. And he was picked. It doesn't matter. He's the best option, they think. And if Trey Lance is option 3 and he's a part of the team, then he's option 3.
Yeah. To me,
it doesn't need to be bigger than that.
That I don't think that his draft stock or his draft positioning should play an impact if he's not starting. If he's starting, then sure, you can absolutely play that card and say, he's the number 3 pick. We have to give him a shot. But if you're talking about a backup spot, I mean, at that point, if you're the 3rd pick and you're not starting, it's already not
should you be active? Should you be on the team?
Exactly.
You got to weigh those questions as opposed to I don't care that we picked him 3rd.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think could it just be? My thing is, and I was saying this yesterday with Brian Noe in a different situation, but what's the win for Shanahan coming out and saying this? Like what's the purpose of him saying that this quarterback positioning isn't going to get solved anytime soon? Is it just to keep the spirit of competition in practice?
That's the only. I'm trying my best to put myself in that spot. I think so. And I hope it's not because, Trey's feelings would be hurt or Darnold. I mean, I don't want to say who cares, but you it's business. Like, you've already said they're not the start. They want to start.
What I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
So, does it really matter if you're 2 or 3? And then if you're 3, you're basically, and 2 gets called on, now you're 1 position away. And Purdy learned that quickly last year.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, now I'm the backup. Well, hopefully everything's okay with Jimmy G. And then it wasn't okay. And then it's like, I'm the quarterback of a team that could win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I wonder if this is also like, what are the odds that this is just Shanahan playing with the media? Like, what if he's just having fun with this conference? Not like really having fun, but just poking fun at the situation. I mean, we can all as a collective not stop talking about this. And he's like, oh, you guys think that a decision's coming? I mean, even if because the thing is, he's just opening he's leaving the conversation open, because even if a depth chart comes out, an official depth chart before that first game, and it says Sam Darnold QB2, well, now all the Trey Lance apologists can say, well, he said it's an open competition, so the conversation needs to still be had of why, can Trey move up the depth chart, whereas, it could be an open and shut case.
He should have more fun then. Throw in Brandon Allen.
Yeah, why not?
Make it really spicy. He's like, hey, he might be QB2.
Yeah, I mean, why not at this point?
It's a 3-man competition.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a whole nother layer of this conversation. Like, why is Brandon Allen still around?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, he's not taking – Matt Mayoko's tweeting out every day the 11-on-11 reps. I don't think I've seen Brandon Allen take an 11-on-11 rep in a week and a half now. Why is he still around?
I thought it was a curious signing. I'm like, wait, what? I know Purdy was hurt, but then, you added Darnold. You have Trey Lance. You have I would deem a pretty good quarterback room.
Yes.
And then you add Brandon Allen. It's like, who's an experienced guy who's played behind Joe Burrow, can play the position. I thought that was weird.
Trauma. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I just completely,
it?
I just think that I think that they're really traumatized from that playoff situation and running out of quarterbacks. And instead, I've been drawing the parallel to the Kings situation. Like, I think that they really just feel like we're not going to be caught dead without a usable quarterback anymore. And the Kings aren't going to be caught dead without a backup center these days. They're like, this was our biggest hole last year. Let's just throw all of the possible assets out here so we're not caught naked again.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Kings, Chris. We are going to talk Kings. We're doing that next with Sean Cunningham from Fox 40. He had a chance to catch up with a familiar King who's back with the Kings at Skal Labissiere. We'll talk to Sean about that and other things, all things Kings, when Sean Cunningham joins us when we come back here on Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Need the breakdown of the latest 49er game?
Trey Lance needed to do more with what he was given. He just looked frantic. He looked panicked. He didn't look in rhythm.
Want to know what to expect from the Beam team this season?
I don't honestly know who's going to have a better record, the Warriors or the Kings. That's interesting because the Warriors did have a lot of injuries last year, but they're also old. So why wouldn't you think they're going to have injuries again this year?
Got to get that MLB fix down the stretch? Looking for articles from your favorite hosts.
For all that and more, visit SactownSports.com. Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Who's ready for some Kings basketball?
Inside is the Boys, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from Pierre on Fox.
The NBA schedule is out and we can't wait for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 27th when the Kings take on the Warriors. Tickets for all preseason and regular season games are on sale now. So head to Kings.com/tickets to get yours. Be there live to see the Beam team in action and cheer on your Sacramento Kings this season.
Let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Hi, it's Brian Bennett from Bennett's Restaurants in Roseville and Sacramento, and our newest restaurant, Bennett's West Side Grill at Rockland's Blue Oak Town Center on Lone Tree Boulevard. We believe in serving the freshest handcrafted foods in a warm, convivial setting. We feature prime seafood and hand-cut steaks, and we have a great wine list with 60 selections by the glass from just $12. Come on in and let us treat you like family and enjoy our wide selection of prime seafood and steak. Having a meeting or large group dinner, our newest restaurant in Rockland features 3 different size event spaces for large group gatherings. 80 guests, not a problem. Bennett's Kitchen Bar and Market, Eureka and Lead Hill Road in Roseville, and Bennett's American Cooking on Fair Oaks and Howe in Sacramento, and our brand new Bennett's West Side Grill, Rockland's Blue Oak Town Center on Lone Tree Boulevard. Come let us put a smile on your face and enjoy all our hospitality. Find us on the web at bennettsrestaurants.com. Eat well, stay well, and remember, Bennett's is where you'll always receive a hospitable welcome.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at AcuraofStockton.com.
Summertime and River Cats baseball are the perfect pairing. The only thing missing is you. With weekly promotions, premium giveaway games, and unique theme nights, there's fun for everyone at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. Visit rivercats.com to purchase tickets.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlod with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Francisco 49ers final preseason game is this Friday, but there's still a quarterback competition for the backup position, according to head coach Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan said that the number 2 quarterback will be named before their Week 1 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that could still change during the season. You can listen to Friday's Niners-Chargers game right here on Sactown Sports. The Oakland A's will try and get their second 3-game sweep of the season today when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Adrian Martinez will be on the bump for the A's to go up against the Kansas City Royals' Cole Reagans. First pitch is scheduled for 12:37. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Whitey and Watkins and our guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Sean Cunningham of Fox 40.
Well, let's welcome him in. As he was introduced, Sean, the first question is, Chris, did you buy that man, the myth, the legend lead in from Chris Verlod?
That was some absolute nonsense, but I appreciate
Sean.
the.
He's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sean, are you muted?
Oh, rookie move.
No. Hello.
We'll get him. Is it him? Is it us? I'm
Can
not
you hear
a
me?
cat. What's happening here? All right, we
Nothing
can't hear.
there?
We'll get him here. You can see Sean.
We can see him.
Yeah, he's tapping the mic. He's
know.
trying it all. He's got the Jay-Z poster and the show. We'll get him. See, that was, I think, Chris's perfect lead-in.
Yeah.
And then he muted.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's classic Chris move right
That
there,
is. But Sean had a chance to talk to Skal Labissiere. If you haven't seen it, it's on socials on Fox 40. It was a really good interview. And
Yeah.
I think both you and I were we had the same takeaway because he's like, yeah, I feel like I'm much more mature. I'm like,
yeah,
I thought you were kind of put together. I didn't think of lack of maturity when I thought of Skal.
No, never. That was
Yeah.
never once any of my thoughts. And, he was kind of around the Willie Cauley-Stein era where it was like, if anyone's immature, it's kind of
Right.
guys like Willie. And, I think he played with Marvin a little
Yeah,
as well.
it's like,
And
be
I
more
was
like Skal, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Be more like Skal. And the fact that he was, really not harping on, but the fact that it kept, it really seemed like he was adamant that no, I don't even recognize the kid that wore that number 3 and number 7 Kings jersey last time.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, he really just feels like this is a true fresh start and almost like a renovation project almost of Skal Labissiere's career.
Yeah, and we're gonna again efforting here to get everything sorted out with Sean. When I was taken back by the signing. I just didn't like it. Almost honestly felt like a fake tweet.
I did the same thing.
Did you?
I was like, okay, is this like Shams?
Yeah.
Is this like
burner cap? I'm like, why would you fake the Skal?
Is the Shams with a Z or something? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or I was looking back. I was like, okay, is this from today?
Right,
or is
that's
this
what
like
I thought. I go,
a
is this an
2013
old- who's
tweet or something.
Retweeting a 4-year-old tweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so we're improvising here
on the phone.
On the phone instead. Sean, we love seeing your face.
Still the
there.
man, the myth, and the legend.
Yes.
I don't know about that. Now, huh?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. You sound great, Sean.
Oh, thanks, pal. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Some of those little technical glitches, but yeah, Chris coming up with the man, the myth, the legend was, I think it just set me up for failure right there.
Well, let's pick up where we were just talking, Sean. You had a chance to talk to Skal, and both Chris and I said the same thing. It took us back when he's like, yeah, I think, Sean, you'd be surprised. I'm much more mature, from 3 years ago. And I didn't think of Skal in lacking maturity. That was one of my takeaways from that. If he thinks he's more mature, great, but I didn't think he was lacking maturity.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I was surprised that was a little bit of the role he took. And I think some of that is, kind of, rehashing some notes and things you remember about his time here in Sacramento, and obviously a first-round pick. And it's somebody that any first-round pick comes in and you want to learn a whole bunch about and talk to people that were around him and former coaches and just his upbringing. And I've done a lot of stories with him over the years. I mean, his upbringing in Haiti and surviving, that devastating earthquake as a child, and his ascension to basketball, which really kind of came to him at a later part in life than probably most do when they're, so heavily recruited and projected to be such a high pick. I mean, Jason, Chris, you both probably remember the fact that, he was once, there were a lot of people thought he'd go number 1 overall a year before the NBA draft that he was actually selected in. And then he had this monster drop off. And part of that was because he didn't play so much in Kentucky. They didn't play a specific role that I think a lot of people who scout the NBA would like to see from him, having attributes that people want to see in the NBA, and turning him more into this shot blocking presence and rebounder. And I remember John Calipari talking about how him being a shot blocker and him being asked to do a certain role that was different from so many of the other things that his contemporaries would do and even teammates would do would hurt him. But because of the fact that he was filling the role of a shot blocker, kept him on the floor. And, Calipari kind of set him up for failure in a little bit and trying to compare him to somebody like Karl Anthony Towns. And it's like, no, Skal doesn't really have that monster in him that just goes out and goes after every rebound like Towns does, but he's a different player. He's a skilled player, but a different player. And I think so much of you were talking about when you talked about his maturity, I think it was maturity from a basketball standpoint, in the sense that certainly there's things that he had to work on. There's a lot of stuff that look a little bit more mechanical rather than that fluidity or that instinctive play that he can make. And I think a lot of that was what he was talking about, but just kind of knowing his background a little bit, I think he had to grow up fast when he was young. And I think now being more comfortable in his own skin and his own body and looking around and being a competitive player, having moments that were bright spots as a Kings player, but then when he goes to another player and has a setback with an injury and then finds himself out of the NBA, was probably something that he didn't know how to react to. So yeah, I thought it was a really honest assessment of some of the things he was talking about, and it was a lot of fun to talk to him.
Sean, I have a two-parter for you. Skal, Nerlens, and Nimi are all on training camp or non-guaranteed deals, and then the Kings also brought back Alex Len as well. Also signed Trey Lyles, who seems like a lot of his minutes might be coming at the 5 this year. First part of the question: Do you think that this training camp is essentially just going to be an open tryout for that third or second backup center spot? And then second, much like the 49ers bringing in 4 quarterbacks to this training camp, do you think that this is an overreaction to last year?
That's a good question. I think, honestly, I'm there with you. I mean, in terms of just the depth, trying to find that quality depth and uncovering every stone in efforts to do so. And that's the nature of training camp. We saw it last year around the forward position. You remember KZ Okpala, Chima Moneke. You can even throw Chimezi Metu in that group. There were some guys who had certainly some question marks around them. And, someone like Chima Moneke, who makes the team, earns the spot, makes the team, does spend some time with the G League to try to grow in areas. And obviously he wasn't part of the rotational minutes. And then you kind of, make that comparison to what's going on this year at the center position, and even somebody like, I'd even say even with the power forward position, because you have guys like Trey Lyles and in this case, someone like Skal Labissiere who can come in and even stretch the floor a little bit in theory and kind of act as a rim protector. And if all goes right, and try to push some guys like Nerlens Noel, who you don't know exactly, what he is on paper, but in execution, it's a lot different than what we've seen in his NBA career. And there's a lot of promise there that just didn't really come to fruition. So, play it out. You've got Nimi, who's young, and you have familiarity and continuity with the roster, but is he an NBA player? Do we get to see him with NBA minutes? And if he is, I'm using him as kind of the pillar here. If you have all this, hope in him, then him beating out the likes of Nerlens Noel or even Skal Labissiere, well, he should, and he should be able to do that. And that's his trajectory, especially coming from the G League and some of the things he's been able to do and the accolades he's received over the past year. This would be the next step in that. It's like, if you're going to be an NBA player, you should be able to beat these guys out with no problem. A guy in Skal who hasn't played on an NBA roster in 3 years, and a guy like Nerlens Noel who can't really get on the floor very often. So if he can't beat those guys out, then he shouldn't be an NBA player, and he probably shouldn't get the opportunity that is afforded to him at this point. So it's really, they all have interesting stories, and they all have, hey, it's going to be a competition. Go out there and may the best man win. I think in somebody like Skal's situation where, if it doesn't happen, certainly there's the G League. Certainly there might be opportunities with other teams, but it's something he's done before. Can he do it again? This is his chance to see if he can crack our NBA rotation and make the most of the opportunity.
Sean, when we're talking with Sean Cunningham, Fox 40 Sports, has covered the Kings for years and years and years. And when you look at this team in their offseason moves, what would you say before the season gets started that you think they might be missing?
I think it's hard for me because I do think they have a nice roster right now. I think for me, it's just the one thing that I've harped on for years is wanting a more of a star from a 3-point, from a small forward standpoint. Mm-hmm. Maybe that 3-and-D, maybe that next pillar for them. And shoot, maybe they have that on their roster already. Maybe they have that in a guy like Keegan Murray who can ascend to that position and build upon the rookie season that he had. That would require a lot of things going the right way for him in his development. And certainly I don't think it's going to happen maybe this year. I've kind of made the argument that, Keegan Murray had such a fantastic rookie year that, in my opinion, there are strides to make for sure. But if he could duplicate what he did in his rookie season, I think that bodes well for the Kings. It doesn't necessarily have to happen this year. Maybe it happens in another year, maybe in the 24-25 season. But maybe that player can be Sasha Vezenkov, who comes in and steps into that role and adapts to the NBA game very well as the EuroLeague MVP. I don't know that I would bet on any one of those two things happening this season. So from my standpoint, like the last 2 years, 3 years, I've always been a guy who looks at their team and said, boy, they could really use this bona fide starting three who is maybe not quite an all-star, but plays at an all-star level, a big scorer, a big defender. And to me, that would, bode well for success with Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. So I still feel like that player is required for this team. And certainly I think they wake up every day trying to make a play like that or identify someone that they can add, even at a mid-season trade. And I think in this offseason, they kicked the tires on several people. I mean, obviously, there was the interest in Kyle Kuzma, OG Anunoby, who we'll see what happens with him. Pascal Siakam, we'll see what happens with him. These are guys that could likely fit that type of role with the Kings. But with them at least identifying those types of players kind of plays well into my theory that they need one of those guys. And I think that's something that they could still look at later this season. But if I had to identify, that's the one.
All right, Sean, thank you. We got about 30 seconds. Just one quick follow-up. Harry Giles, you had a chance to do a story on him earlier, and some Kings fans asked, well, why not Harry Giles? Have you heard anything on his camp on what might happen with him?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, Skal, who just signed with Daniel Hazan from his agent, they both share the same agent. So Harry has had a number of workouts, most recently actually with the Warriors in the Bay Area. So I think there's a number of teams that are interested in Harry Giles in terms of what he can do on a basketball floor. I think a lot of people that want to see him. I'm confident he'll get a training camp invite, maybe a little bit beyond that. But I think the next step for Harry Giles is to play a lot of basketball, and I think that's going to come in the way of the G League and certainly they would want to see as an NBA opportunity first and foremost. But I think we'll see him on the basketball court this year, and I think it might be in the way of the G League.
All right. Well, we root for him. Certainly, Sean, thank you for your time. I know we'll be seeing you very soon, and we appreciate you joining us.
You got it, guys. Anytime. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Sean. That's the man, the myth, the legend, as described by Christopher Laud.
So
Sean
quick
Cunningham.
to adjust as well. He was
Yes.
ready. He went straight from the stream to the phone in less than a minute. So,
Yeah, he was ready.
That's efficiency, right?
He was ready.
Gotta
Well,
appreciate it.
we got to kind of follow up on that, Chris. Let's get more into Skal, where his spot may be in this organization. We've got that when we come back here on Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Brock Purdy looked good in his brief return to game action against the Broncos.
Fake the give right and rolling left. Firing out to Deebo Samuel at the 40, the 45-50, into Denver territory at the 45-yard line.
Can Purdy build off that performance against the Chargers?
49ers, Chargers. Pre-game at 6, kickoff at 7.
This Friday on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. Picked up for 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your face. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Hard Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Thanks again to Sean Cunningham. Joining us, giving some insight on the Kings, certainly on Skal Labissiere. Anything you ever miss on any of the programs here on Sactown Sports, just go back to our website, SactownSports.com. All the shows end up there in a podcast format, so you can find it, listen to it whenever you want. Like if you're driving a car that has incessant beeping, just background noise for you to listen to a podcast.
So you said about your car, listen to your phone. You quite literally meant like listen
Just
to your phone.
to something. Yeah.
Do you
not
like
through? Yeah, no, I'm listening through the
Do you
phone.
put it in the cup holder?
Just down.
Yeah,
like
okay. I wasn't sure. I had a friend once who had his radio stolen out of his car, and that was his move where he would put the phone in the cup holder, or he would have a cup in the cup holder so it kind of, echoes out a little bit, and you can amplify the noise. It's more of
the hand
it's
below,
more for amplification if more than anything.
Yeah, I just need some more noise.
Yeah, definitely
Need to get
you
that beeping.
Get you something in there.
Well, you've been a radio for a long time. Do you ever, like me, get like freaked out when there's just silence for a bit? Like even if you're not working or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if I'm if I'm listening to a station or something and then I hear like
A pause.
just a pause.
Like
Even
when
if-
we used to have Jim Rome, the Rome pause. It's like,
I was like,
we're out the. Oh no, he just paused.
No, but like
Is the
me,
alarm
I will
going
be at home reading a book and realize it's just too quiet.
What is that?
And it's just like, like my hands just go like I got to do something, right?
Yeah, press a button somewhere.
Well, because you're always listening, whether you're not, there's like locked in listening, and then like just you have to hear for a lot of different things, and so
Right.
you're kind of trained that way. But
Well, I definitely notice it most, and maybe this is everybody, but like if you have headphones on and you have your phone in your pocket, and how if you're actively listening to something and then someone calls you, it stops. That moment is like, that's when I feel the radio silence where you freak out. That's when I'm like, did my phone just die? What just happened? And then like my ringtone will kick on.
Yeah.
Like, okay. That's like the scariest 1 second of my life.
I would say that's been one of the challenges of radio, like is being comfortable in some silence sometimes. And like, even if there's a joke that doesn't land, or you like, just wait, and just like let it go for a little bit. Like, Okay, that's part of it. Could be funny, or if it does land, not. I mean,
right?
Whatever. It doesn't have to be a joke, but just like sometimes letting something sit is tough.
It's an art.
It
It's an
is.
art. And like, yeah, I mean, us in radio are not afforded any moment of silence. Is a scary one. So.
I've wanted to do that more in play-by-play. Like it's really in TV.
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
you like what's better than just the crowd reactions, the fan reactions, the coach, player, radio. Like I don't know. I just would love to be in a game that's just so loud, and you're like, you know what? Just get the call in and then sit, even if it's for not as long as they can on TV, but that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because you got to balance the
like
your literal job at that
Yeah.
point is to paint the picture of
Right.
what's happening, but at
Right.
the same time, like you're saying, sometimes noise, is the only
Yeah.
thing that truly does it justice. Kevin Herter hits a big game-winning three. It's like, okay, I can either let this crowd noise take over, or I can try and get my voice over this, and maybe you can barely make it out, but it's a really tough thing, and you're making that decision in real time too. Obviously, you can have these notions in your head that I'm gonna let it breathe and all this, but then once you get into the action, it's like, oh, that was too long. It's really tough, and you gotta you just gotta go through reps as well.
That's why I like to sometimes just if you ever listen to a baseball game, like you just hear the background, you just know something's going on, but it's like, oh, nobody's talking at the moment, but there's just you can just hear stuff, and then it's like
whistles,
2-1 pitch.
just
It's like,
random
oh
things.
yeah, we got a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so Skal Labissiere, it's going to be back with the Kings, maybe Stockton, maybe not there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was curious. Thought it was an odd move. But I'm wondering, what do you think Monty and Wes and that group are thinking here? I mean, again, it's not like it's
right.
I don't think a difference-making move. Apologies to Skal, but like they've got a roster that's probably going to get the bulk of these minutes. But there's a reason for it. I'm not sure I know the reason.
I don't think I figured it out either. I mean, this is an organization that, the guys that are in charge right now, Monty and Wes, they never saw Skal here in Sacramento.
True.
And so this is essentially, in their eyes, I don't think they view this as, oh yeah, this is Skal coming back to Sacramento. I think that this is truly a guy that they've identified as liking what they saw. Skal played last year in the G League, I believe, for Mexico City. So, he had a good amount of reps in the G League. If this is just a G League, if this move was made with the G League in mind, you could see how that would be an addition, especially if they have plans on bringing Neemias Queta up to the big club. Well, you're going to need to fill those giant footsteps in that Nemi's leaving in the G League with somebody, and Skal, you could see, would be a good option to do that. I think the G League route is the kind of the most obvious one that if you're going to look at the situation, it seems like that's kind of what this is. But he's somebody that I think they view as, he's long, he's mobile. He's shown some ability to do a little bit of everything. He's really in the smallest form. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. Like there isn't really one thing that he excels at, but he can shoot a little, he can defend a little. Like I said, he's mobile. He can finish around the rim a little bit, but nothing at all is like that's Skal's thing that he excels at. And, I think that's going to be the key for him if he wants to make the big boy roster.
That's exactly how I felt about him when he was here and like really trying to figure out, because I think the talks were, well, maybe he's quick enough to be a 3 and be out on the perimeter like a Giannis, or is he that 4 that's down on the block and pushing people around? And I felt like he tried to do both.
Yeah.
And he was fine at both.
Yeah.
But he wasn't great at one or the other. You're like, oh, he's clearly a 3. That guy can shoot.
Yeah.
Stretch the floor. No, you got to give him the ball, like just construct down there and just make some. It's like he did it both, but didn't excel at one. And I think he's trying to master all of it, like you said. I think I want to ask you kind of the same thing you asked Sean. I do think it was a great question about. If we just looking at the middle, obviously Sabonis is the man,
right?
But whether it's Len, Nerlens Noel, Trey Lyles played that 5 a lot. Queta. What do you think that is? Is that a audition? Is it not even audition? Maybe is it going to be a case by case, like, hey, we're playing Jokic, and we probably need Alex Len and Queta today.
Right.
But we're playing a more fleet-footed, like smaller team. Trey, that's your backup 5 minutes. Nerlens, we need a rim. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, I have no idea. Again, there's a lot of similarities to this in the Niners quarterback situation. Like, is this going to be?
Answer.
Yeah, is it going to be? No, Trey Lyles is the backup for the most part, and then like you're saying, if we go against a Gobert, Towns, and Naz Reid, we'll throw in those bigger guys or a Jokic or something like that. I could see that being a possibility, and I think it's always good to keep those guys out there, but that's not really what we even saw last year. Like, I think that they're looking for one guy. I think that they're looking for somebody to kind of claim that spot, and I don't know who it's going to be. I think Trey Lyles, if I had to guess, I still think he has the inside track for it, and I only say that because, when you look at the positioning of the Kings, assuming, and this could be assuming at this point, Harrison Barnes is the starting 4, Keegan Murray's the starting 4, and Sasha is that main backup at the power forward position, because I don't think he can play, small forward or center, so he's kind of locked in at that power forward. That kind of leaves Trey Lyles' only minutes available at the center, and at the price they paid him at the importance of which he was to this team last year, I just feel like he's got the best shot of doing it. But if you're talking about third center, like, who is that swing guy that, like you're saying, if the right matchup calls for it, they could bring in, I think that's where this open competition kind of starts to take shape between Len, between Nerlens, between Skal, between Mimi. One of those guys is going to claim that spot. I just kind of feel like Alex Len is like the Sam Darnold of those guys. Like, I feel like he's the guy with the most experience. He's the guy that might not be the flashiest player, but you're going to put him in, and for the most part, you can pretty much know what you're going to expect.
Yeah, and Coach sure went to him against the Warriors. Like, that was like out of nowhere. Like, you haven't really played him that much, and then it's like
all season.
Nah, we need him now. It's like, whoa, there's some trust there,
and the fact they brought him back as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried him out for those 7 games, and then in the playoffs, they realized, like, this really isn't an answer that's good enough for this series. They benched him after 2 games. And then still decided to bring him back. Like, what does that say? I really don't know, but it clearly says something. And again, the fact that they're bringing in all of these guys, they still haven't signed. We were confident come summer league time, Jordan Ford's getting one of these contracts. That hasn't happened yet. Instead, they've decided to really prioritize the backup big spot. And it's a lot of questions that I don't know if we're going to get any answers to until camp actually kicks off.
You know what it tells me?
What's that?
Don't get hurt, Sabonis.
Jason Ross.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. I mean, at that point, and the problem is none of those guys are like Sabonis.
No,
like,
he's one of one in this team. I mean, there's other guys like him in the league, but not on this squad.
Right. I mean, it's and I think there is, again, to draw parallels to quarterbacks situation just in general. You could argue, if your starter goes down anyways, you're screwed. So, what's there's not really much point in bringing in a Mason Plumlee or a high level backup. People wanted Naz Reid here over summer. What's really the point? Because if Sabonis goes down, you're kind of screwed anyway. Yeah. So I understand that, but you're definitely right. I mean, if Sabonis goes down, De'Aaron Fox, put the team on your back, please.
It is trouble. All right. Well, we do know the schedule came out last week. There are 80 games.
Yeah.
80. We got what's up with the 2 missing games? We're going to talk about that and kind of the scheduling quirks that are still to happen this upcoming NBA season on games 81 and 82. We've got that next on Whitey and Watkins.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Have you ever heard that phrase, less is more? Well, at Harbor Freight, we're all about more for less, because we know you like to do stuff, to make stuff, to improve stuff. That's why everything in our stores, from miter saws to tool chests to cordless impact wrenches, is priced affordably. So get out there and drill, paint, and saw to your heart's content. We just ask that whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Whether you're shopping for your favorite Honda online or in person, you'll see why Stockton Honda is the #1 Honda dealer in Northern California, and why buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Visit in person or online at StocktonHonda.com, where your favorite Honda is ready for you.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own lawn report.
When you're young, life is full of choices.
Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Labor Day, our annual celebration of workers and their achievements, was first observed in New York, and the first Monday in September became a national holiday in 1894. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Each year we commemorate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and family gatherings. And right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is celebrating with their exceptional whole store Labor Day sale. Would you like to refresh your living room? Would you like to restyle your bedroom? Maybe you want to redesign your home office. No matter whether it's your dining room, kids' rooms, accents, or accessories, Naturewood's unique store-wide Labor Day sale offers savings in every department and savings on every brand like Stanton, Omnia, England, Stickley, Flex Steel, and all the rest of the award-winning furniture. When it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable Labor Day sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Why drive all the way to Hoblet for Chrysler's Labor Day sales event?
Because if you go somewhere else, you're paying too much. No one beats Hoblet when it comes to price and service. Right now, you can save nearly $16,000 off MSRP when you lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. There are so many to choose from, and even more purchase options. This Jeep will get you where you need to go and save you money on gas getting there.
Oh, Chad, you got any deals on something a little sportier?
Yes, you can save up to $7,500 off MSRP on new 2023 Dodge Charger SXTs. You can't beat this mix of technology and American muscle. Plus, no one beats Hoblet service and overall selection.
There it is. Stop by Hoblet Dodge in Woodland today for a test drive or see their entire inventory online at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
15,900 total net savings for lease option only after 12,250 factory rebates and 3650 dealer discounts. Rebates include $7,500 federal tax credit. Consult your tax professional for details. Lease offers subject to approval through Stellantis. $7,500 total net savings on new 2023 Dodge Charger SXTs after $3,500 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discounts. Rebates may include $500 first responder bonus cash for qualifying first responders only. 5% savings. See dealer for details.
Listen to Oakland A's baseball on the weekends all season long right here on Sactown Sports, beginning with the pregame show brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Whitey Gleason will be with us this afternoon, a little later in Crosstalk. Joined by Kyle Draper. They'll be doing the afternoons. He's Chris Watkins. I'm Jason Ross. And today, and again, thanks to Sean Cunningham earlier in the hour. All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Yeah, I was talking yesterday with Brian Noe about how there's like some radio commercials that'll just
forever
stick in your head
Yes.
forever.
Do you do that when you're at your house? Like, I mean, I'll literally out of nowhere just walk down the hall and just, blurt out a jingle. I don't even know where
That's
it
what I
came
was
from.
telling him. Yeah, I was like, I'll get out the shower and the first thing, I don't know why this is what comes to my head, but I'm Toomgas. And it's just, there's
get out
KARS cars for kids. I did that the other day as well. And I like have one headphone in my ear and, I'm just washing dishes or whatever. And, my girlfriend's walking past me and I just, and she's like, what are you? And I'm like, I forget you can't hear me.
Yeah.
Or you can't hear what I'm hearing.
No, the one that I always do, Jason.
The water.
The
Randomly. We don't even know what that was for the longest time. What are they saying in that commercial? Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
A TV commercial. Or the worst, like I might have one from like 8 years old, like just pops out of nowhere. I'm like, when was the last time I thought of that? It just happens.
With Education Connection. Get connected for free.
What's that one?
Education Connection. Come on.
Was that
We're like JG Wentworth,
Oh,
877 Cash Now. There's there's tons of
Call
classics.
1-800 General Now.
Yeah, the General, the KARS cars for kids. There's a lot of classics. The worst was, and it's getting towards that season again. Last year, the Burger King Whopper commercials that completely took over.
Yeah,
it was. I I could go another season without
Yeah.
Whopper.
Yeah. I do the because especially in football season, just da-da-da, like all just whatever the different
the themes and stuff.
Themes,
absolutely.
Just happens.
Yeah.
Don't do it as much with the NBA. I used to do it with Round Ball Rock.
Yeah,
the
of
NBA.
course.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, that whole thing.
And then Tim Robinson gave us the lyrics to that song.
Yes, he did. Dunk it. So we did see the schedule last week.
Yeah.
80 games. That's locked in. We know that. So, Chris, they play 82.
They do.
We've got two more to
maybe 83.
Potentially 83. That could be the Kings. Whether you win or lose in the Cup tournament.
Yep.
But there is an 83rd game that doesn't count as a regular season game. But the schedule makers, I heard a podcast recently with Evan Wash is one of the many that was at our broadcast meetings that was talking about this upcoming in-season tournament last year, and then just how difficult the scheduling would be.
Right.
So then you just there's quirks here that are going to happen just because they have to happen. Hopefully everybody kind of gets the gist of it. The Kings are in Group C. If they advance to Group C, they get a chance to get into the kind of the tournament grouping,
right.
and there'll be some more games there. But not everybody's going to advance, and so they've got to make up the 2 extra games. And because there's 11 teams from each conference that are not going to make it, that means 22. That makes it uneven. So some teams may play an extra Eastern Conference team, maybe once or twice.
Right.
In theory, let's just say this: the Kings could play the Lakers a 5th time.
They could, yeah.
They could have 42 road games and 40 home games. They could have They could have 42 home games and 40. It's just there's going to be or 41 and 42 if they're. Or no, 41 and 40.
41 and 40.
Yeah, if they're in Vegas and technically
get
those
eliminated,
are neutral sites. Yeah. So the weird part about all that is that middle week of, or I'd say that tournament week of early December, we just don't know when and where. We know the dates of those games.
Right.
We don't know where the Kings are going to be, and that's weird for everybody a part of travel.
Yeah, it's really strange, and this is one of the downsides of from the NBA perspective of running this tournament is at this point it kind of seems, maybe, who knows, maybe they do have a set plan that they just haven't let us know about, but for the most part it kind of seems like they're just going to figure it out as it happens. I think you pointed to the example of if the Kings lose their first 2 in-season tournament group stage games, maybe they'll be like, okay, they're on alert here.
Yeah, because they're likely not going to advance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's try and start to figure out where some other teams that are 0-2.
Portland's in trouble in Group A, so and they're close. We could put one game.
Right.
Maybe the Kings go to Portland.
Right.
Because they only play them 3 times. But what if they play a team 4 times already, like it's Phoenix or the Lakers or the Clippers who aren't in their pool? The Warriors are, but who aren't in their pool. And it's like, oh, you might get them a 5th time. And is that a 3rd game in LA? They'll figure it out, but that's weird.
It's very weird. Yeah, and it's the
hey, leave your
the price of
stadiums
doing
available.
Business, I guess. Yeah.
No concerts, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave this week.
Leave them open. I don't know how they're going to determine it. Yeah, and I don't know how they're going to determine if a team makes it to the game before the final. Are they going to do like a consolation game at any point? Is that
stay
the plan?
in Vegas?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does that stay in Vegas? Is that, how does any of this work? I mean, we're obviously going to figure it out as it goes, but it feels like so is the NBA.
Yeah, and I think what's your best guess? My best guess is point differential. Let's say, we know that each division group winner advances, but then the top one in the will also advance, a 4th team. Well, let's just say 3 teams are 4-0, easy picking. Well, then 2 teams are 3-1.
Right.
Well, who goes? And then is it, how did you, I'm sure they've got the metrics and the numbers, but again, layers of this that gets more complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would assume the teams will find out before the tournament starts, but that would be good information to know because
boy, they're piling on the points here at the end.
You don't want to take out your starters if it could or could that be where we find out what teams actually care about these
Great
things?
Point.
That's already been a big topic of discussion is, who's going to care and what does caring about this tournament even look like? Like, I think a bit much has been made of, people already load manage. Like, what's the incentive to play? Well, if anything, these are still regular season games. If anything, there's just more incentive to win them. There's not necessarily any less incentive or, there's no punishment. I think that's still the thing that we have to figure out. And it's definitely not clean. And frankly, I think these are all questions that the NBA just doesn't want people asking.
Yeah,
right now.
and I know they can't think of every scenario, but when these start to happen, I think of weird scenarios that could happen. So let's just say, well, they're friends. Mike Brown and Steve Kerr have openly, they are friendly and friends and talk highly of one another.
Yeah.
Kings are playing the Warriors in one of those group plays.
That
and it's
last
like,
group play.
Sorry, Coach Kerr, but we kind of have to stomp you.
Throttle you.
And I'm leaving Fox in. I'm leaving. And it's going to be a win. We're getting a win, regular season win, but we need to win by 24 or more.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're up. 3 minutes left. We're up 28. I'm not calling off the dogs.
Yeah.
Or are you if that's a weird
and is that
thing.
A conversation that needs to happen? Is that I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's a really interesting scenario. And what if it's not a team?
Yeah.
And what if it's not a team that you're friendly with?
People dribble out it's like, nope,
score.
We need this bucket.
All points matter. I think it's going to be interesting. And,
I like chaos.
Maybe the NBA wants that as well. Maybe they want, these games to feel different and have a different vibe to them than your normal regular season game. I mean, that's kind of what they've been hinting at in just their promotion of this, that this isn't the same as the regular season. And that would be an interesting way in which it could be different. If some teams decide to go full throttle, that's not something you would traditionally see in a regular NBA game.
Yeah.
And do coaches see value in it?
Right.
I mean, it still is the risk reward of, okay, yeah, we might get a bump in our tournament standings, but what if De'Aaron Fox does get hurt in this 4-minute stretch here where we're just trying to extend the lead from 20 to 25?
Yeah.
You can't do that. I don't think you should. I kind of don't think you should. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Only time will tell, right?
Only time will tell. All right. The NBA is in a good spot.
It is.
There's
a
lot of good things, but you know what else is good? The WNBA is unreal
Don't
right now. How good. We're going to get you started.
Okay.
That is coming your way next. Records were made yesterday or tied, but this league is so good, so healthy, and getting even better. We've got that story and more when we come back on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Experience a golf tournament as refined as you are. The Fortinet Championship returns to Silverado Resort September 14th through the 17th. Be there as the best of Napa meets the best of the PGA Tour. With wine experiences, rockin' shows, and incredible golf. It's like this weekend was made for you. The Fortinet Championship, September 14th through the 17th. For tickets, go to FortinetChampionship.com.
Don't wait, the giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
When you step on the first tee, you're there to have fun, but you also have a responsibility to the other members of your group. We can be quick to find fault with others not playing fast enough, talking on their cell phones, and more. But it's good to look in the mirror now and then. When your partner's on the tee, don't be looking in your bag for teas or a snack. Be quiet. Know your yardages and be ready with your club. Some players enjoy a friendly tip when they're playing badly. Others don't want to hear from you even if you're Tiger Woods. Know how to read the room. If you like the flag stick out, tend it while someone is putting or put it back in the hole when everyone finishes. Watch the flight of your friend's shots. Finding lost balls quickly keeps the game moving. And if you're so far right that even the superintendent doesn't go there, give it up and hit another ball. And if you're not playing well, keep smiling. It's infectious and others will look to play with you again. Good karma and good golf go hand in hand. Have fun. It's a game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Did you know the average person walks 100,000 miles in their lifetime? It's true. That's a whole lot of stress, strain, and pressure ultimately put on 2 feet. Hi, DC Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store. As a spokesperson for Good Feet, I run into all sorts of surprising foot-related facts. Like despite relatively few Americans being born with foot issues, over time, 75% of all adults will experience painful foot or foot-related problems. By supporting all 4 arches of the foot, the Good Feet 3-step arch support system can help return your foot and whole body to its proper alignment. Come to the Good Feet store for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Goldfield Trading Post, California Army National Guard, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Back here on Whitey and Watkins, Jason Ross, Chris Watkins, Chris Roulade running the show. We will have Whitey and Draper here later this afternoon. It's been fun being in here with Chris. I just enjoy working with you.
Yeah, it's always a blast. You and I kind of go way back. I mean, I was talking to you the other day about how, I remember, especially like during the pandemic time, it was, we have this big staff, Joe Giroux, got Brian.
Well, it's much bigger now than it
was.
was.
Yeah. And I'm like, I remember the days when it was me, Jason Ross, and Frankie Cardicelli on Zoom, just trying to figure out like how we're going to get through
how
that
we're
day.
Functioning as a station.
Exactly. Yeah. And now, I look at us and I'm like, man, look at all these people.
We're all part of the same miracle.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Who would have thought we'd be here? Not me.
Yes. And there was a time where people would have wondered, will that WNBA ever last?
Yeah.
Well, you and I are both fans. I know you're a big fan of WNBA. It is better than ever. I think it's been a good league. I've been a fan of it. Certainly working with the Monarchs all those years ago. Just great people, great team. Mm-hmm. It's a great organization. I really miss them. But the league, watching it now, it's so much better.
So much better.
There's so much talent. And then you have nights like, right now we literally have 2 teams that are unreal in New York and Las Vegas. And they beat each other up, which is great.
It's great.
Brianna Stewart's having an amazing year.
Yep.
But then what Asia Wilson did last night, just playing 53 points.
Incredible. Just
effortless.
So good. She was 16 of 23 from the field.
Missed one free throw.
Missed one free throw, 20 of 21 from the line.
Putting in work.
She's incredible. She's
won Rookie of the Year, MVP, championship.
Just won a championship last year. Finals MVP last year. She's truly one of the great stars that they have in the WNBA. For her to tie Liz Cambage's record of 53 points last night was really just a stamp down on her, saying she is one of the best women's basketball players of all time. Her game reminds me of almost like Tim Duncan, somebody who, I'm well noted to be a huge fan of. Just the fact that she can bring it on the offensive end, obviously with the 53 yesterday, but also, I mean, she is one of, if not the best defender in the WNBA right now. Always near the top. I think she's leading the league right now in blocks at 2 a game. Just an incredible talent. And, I think that this Vegas, New York super team era is
kind of good.
I think it's really good for the league. I always compare it to, when you look at the history of the NBA, the NBA in the 70s. Absolutely. Wilt and Bill Russell and Oscar Robertson and Lou Alcindor at that point. They were absolutely dominant in the 70s, but it wasn't quite to the level. It wasn't the NBA that we know here today. What was the thing that set off the NBA? If you were to say, that was the real turning point era for the NBA,
Magic and Bird.
Magic and Bird.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the WNBA needs, is that Magic and Bird-esque rivalry to really bring eyeballs to the sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what this New York Liberty, Las Vegas Aces thing can really be is, a lot of the time people have complained about, the WNBA, it's so boring. There's not enough action, there's no dunks, which, you're still not going to get any of that. And that's totally fine, people. Okay. Get over that. But what this is going to bring is just a lot of star and attention to these two teams. And I think a lot of people have a problem with the bridge of entry. They just are like, I want to watch, even if I did want to watch, like, I don't know anybody. Well, these two teams are going to be the biggest stars. If you're going to get to know anybody, get to know the stars on these teams. I mean, you have Sabrina Ionescu on New York, who's a massive star. You mentioned Breonna Stewart. They have Jonquel Jones, who's been an MVP in the league before. And then Asia Wilson on the Vegas side, Kelsey Plum. They got Chelsea Gray. They've got just so much talent. Jackie
Candace
Young
Parker's
as well.
hurt.
Candace Parker's hurt. She's on the team. So it's very, very recognizable people on these two teams. And I think if they can, keep this going, even if it's 2 or 3 years of just those two meeting in the finals, I just think that's good for the sport.
Well, and the parallels too to the entirety of basketball. So you hit the NBA one perfectly, and I think they're ahead of what the NBA was. And in college, for years, honestly, it was UCLA. It was winning the national championship, 10 of 12 years. John Wooden, there's no program better. And then a few other programs got better. And then all of a sudden, hey, here's Duke, here's Kentucky, here's Carolina. And a lot of men's teams could win the program.
Yeah.
Well, it's Connecticut or Stanford, Stanford. Now it's South Carolina. It's Baylor.
Notre Dame won
Notre Dame. I mean, but there are legitimately a lot of good women's programs now.
LSU.
There's not 30,
Right.
but it's not 2.
Right.
And so it's grown, and then all of a sudden now
Caitlin Clark's a massive star.
Oh my goodness!
Paige
At
Bucher,
Iowa,
massive star.
So now these players are all coming, and so as you age out, last year Sue Bird, Taurasi will be soon, legends of the game.
Yeah.
But then you get these other names that, hey, I saw them for 4 years in college,
right?
And then here they are as stars for 10 years, 15 years in the WNBA. It's really healthy. And the other thing I see when I watch games now, there's still some things. It's different than the NBA, but I appreciate what's different. But I remember when calling games for the WNBA. There was, I think the shooting is just so much better.
Ridiculous.
And a lot of teams shoot 50% or better.
Yeah.
And there were some of the complaints back then. Oh, they all miss layups. Oh, there would be a missed layup or two. But I felt like there were a lot more missed shots before. And now it's like, if you're open, they're pretty much making it.
Yeah. No, it's very similar to, I mean, the style of play is very similar to the NBA. I mean, there's girls taking step back threes.
Absolutely.
There's girls spotting up,
like
knocking down 40+% from
Yeah.
three. I think, as a matter of fact, I think if you look at the percentages, especially from three, the WNBA is significantly better. There's a lot more shooters that shoot over 40% in the WNBA than that of in the NBA. I think it's a really talented league, and I think especially, this is, I think, the third time the Aces and the Liberty are going to meet up this week. They're supposed to meet like 4 times in a 2-week span. Once the playoffs get rolling around, again, I just cannot recommend highly enough that you get into the playoffs. You have the great Ryan Rucco calling the playoff games. It's so good. The atmosphere is incredible. And I mean, it just feels like the game is kind of at a turning point right now. And I think and I hope that it's for the better.
I remember in Summer League when Vegas, like everybody's there for Wembanyama, and then like all of a sudden, boom, they all shifted and went over to the Aces to watch them play. And it's like, because it's a show.
Yeah.
It's really good basketball.
Absolutely. It's incredible.
Do yourself a favor, check
Please.
that out. We will break here. When we come back to start the next hour, we got to get into some football. You and I have both worked with Brian Noe over the last 2 days, and he had an exercise I know that you guys worked on. I don't think it quite made it on air. He and I made it on air. We're going to compare notes on that with Brian about teams in and teams out in the NFL. And a reminder, too, on our YouTube, we're going to stick, we're not really breaking. We're going to keep talking to you guys on our YouTube channel as well. So we will be back on the radio for more of Whitey and Watkins right after this on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Cool.
There we go.
Mojo916 points out, I like this theme. We can keep this going. Tisha Penicheiro, one of my favorite point guards for the Monarchs, played like white chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah, I love these. Let's do these WNBA. I said, yeah, Asia Wilson's a lot like Tim Duncan. I guess like Sabrina Ionescu's Steph Curry's the easy one to say, but I would say Caitlin Clark probably plays a little bit more like Steph's style.
Yeah.
She's almost more like I don't want to say Steve Nash either. She's not really that great of a distributor, but just a dynamite shooter. There's not really, I guess maybe like a Damian Lillard, I would say is a good comp for her. Can really catch fire at any point, can shoot it from anywhere in the gym.
You know what I found interesting too is like, I think as the sport has grown too, it, for the better or for worse, and I don't think you have to compare it to men's games, but if you do, you do.
Sure.
But I found that some people got turned off, like from Angel Reese in the tournament when she was taunting.
Caitlin Clark. Yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin Clark and Iowa and some of that. And then
like
it's
the ring thing. And all that,
but like in staring her down and doing that in front, it's like, well, it's part of every other sport.
Absolutely.
I just think the competitive nature of the women now in basketball it's
real.
Fierce. Like Ionescu is relentless competitor. Breanna Stewart's relentless.
Yeah.
Like obviously to say they want to win, but like they're like fierce. They're dogs, right?
Absolutely.
Like they go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really about competition at the end of the day. And yeah, they're fighting, they're physical. It's it's in every sense of the form. Like it's legit. It is completely legit. And I know, people are always going to have their problems. And, there's some people who will just never watch it just because they're just stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
But I think if you have any curiosity of watching it, if you think I do love basketball, but I'm afraid, I don't like college basketball. I don't really like inferior product. I think that it's really like it's its own separate thing. Like it's kind of, I would say some aspects of the game, because it is, it's not a vertical game. Some aspects is very like mid to, I think it's what like post play exists. Like Asia Wilson is a true post player. Like there's all elements of the game. Whereas in the NBA, the center position has kind of died. I think there's a little bit more of like true. It's almost like a more pure form of basketball. Like it's like a like pickup basketball. Like, you go to, wherever your YMCA, whatever you go, and it's just an incredibly high level of that.
And I would challenge, like, I know Dave said this in the morning show, like challenge men that go like, I want dunks. Well, Chris, we just had the Kings Warriors series was a great series.
Yeah.
Can you remember a highlight dunk in this series? Maybe there was in the series though, but what was it about? Like the precision ball movement, the shooting. There's plays above the rim,
right?
That's part of the sport, but like, you might get a dunk a game, maybe two if you're lucky. That's like, wow.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
You're not getting that.
No.
That's all you're missing. The rest of the way they play is the same.
It's really the same, and that's where like the skill level gap has really shrunk as well. Like I said, like there's girls taking step backs. They're hitting crazy amount of threes. Like it's got everything except for the dunk.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Good conversation during the break. If you joined us on YouTube, talking about the greatness of the WNBA. Very early on in my career, doing a WNBA game in Phoenix. Monarchs taking on Phoenix. Great Diana
Going
Cross.
against Katie Christensen.
I don't know that Katie was on the team then, but I called games again with Katie.
What kind of player was Katie? Was she like a post player mainly?
Yeah, but she was all elbows and knees, and she was like, we were talking earlier about with Dave, the black eye. She was delivering those, and she had shine. Like, I don't know, she was physical.
She was physical,
very physical. But like, there's such a, I don't know. Some of us walk this line like, oh, I want them to be ladies. But be a bruiser. Like, just play how you play. Like, just play. But the early reminder to me was Diana Taurasi's so good and one of the greatest of all time. We're in Phoenix, and Chris, I kid you not, of any game I've ever heard, no one, when she got a technical, no one I've ever heard put more swear words in a short amount of time. And like, I'm trying to describe it. I can clearly hear them all through my headset, which I know is going over the radio. And I think the only way I described it is said, well, if anybody's wondering why she got a technical and then ejected, she earned it. I mean, I didn't know what else. I'm like, wow, is she dropping every possible I mean, right in the ref's face. I'm like, yeah, she's gone.
We have gotten like a little bit of a taste of that from her watch-alongs.
Yes. Oh my God.
She can't stop.
She'll drop something, and everyone's just like, people are watching this.
She's wild on that too, because she will drop some obscenities, but she's also like, she very much skates the line of like, she loves making some witty. Oh yeah, like they're. Whatever, she likes to, she just definitely likes to toe the line of what's acceptable on television and not.
Well, that's our PSA for you. I mean, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But but if you watched it before, I watched it once. Try again. Yeah, try. It's amazing,
especially in the playoffs. I'm telling you, the playoffs are just a different atmosphere.
I will add this too. If you're going to go into it with a bad attitude, you're not going to like
it.
So
exactly. Like I don't like motorsports, and you turn to like I don't like it. See, like well. Are you going to be open-minded? Whatever it is.
And it is very much like Chris said, if you're going in saying, oh, they just miss layups, and then they're going to miss 3 layups in a row. And
I told you.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is terrible. And it's like, well, watch an NBA game, and I guarantee I can show you a 45-second stretch where there's 8 turnovers and, people are airballing 3.
Basically any Charlotte game.
Wow.
Basically any Charlotte game.
What do you have against Charlotte?
He really has things against Seattle. That's
that I know.
There's no Seattle basketball team.
St. Louis.
There's no St. Louis basketball team. So unfortunately, Charlotte gets the. Yeah. It shouldn't though. I don't have
his power rankings of hatred of Seattle and St. Louis.
I don't think I knew about the St. Louis.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
Interesting.
But he just doesn't like it.
Interesting.
All right. So you and I both the last 2 days had a chance to work in the afternoons. We worked with Brian No.
Yeah.
Brian No's been around. Does a lot of different things. Big football guy.
He gets hit in the no-no spot.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah. No. The no-no zone.
Yeah. But an exercise, I've done this before too on shows and he stretched it out because I think he's actually factually right. But generally, really there's you can lock in every year. I think since maybe 90-something, 4 teams in, 4 teams out.
Yeah.
But he said, look, the tradition really the last several years, it's been 7 teams in and 7 teams out. So I know you kind of worked on it, but I don't think it made it to the air. We actually put this on the air. So if I ask you, of the teams that made the playoffs last year, do you have in your mind right now, Chris Watkins, 7 teams that you see better be on watch here? You could see them as missing the playoffs.
Yeah, this was a very tough exercise, especially to get it to 7. Like I think I could have done 4 pretty confidently and felt good about it. It's really tough. But when you add on those 3 extra teams, it's just like you'll see with the names on my list.
Okay. And I want to see how close we are on ours.
I think the easiest one.
So start with your confident one. Okay.
Tampa Bay. I feel like I can say Tampa Bay with the Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask situation. Yeah. Again, I think New Orleans is probably best set up in that division with Derek Carr and actual talent around him to get it done. And I just don't really have a lot of faith in Tampa Bay. So one felt easy to me.
Okay, I agree with you. I have Tampa as one of my 7.
Cool. Seattle. I have Seattle on there for reasons we talked about earlier. I don't really believe it in this exercise where I'm having to physically remove someone from the playoffs. I mean, Seattle definitely stuck out as one of the easier teams to try and guess that, you could see how maybe last year was, a little bit of fool's gold.
Yeah. And let's remember, good year, 9-8 though.
Yeah. Exactly. 9-8. It's not like they're 12-4.
A fumble here, a missed field goal. It's like now you're 8-9, 7-10, and you're out.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly.
I also had Seattle as one of my 7.
Okay, I have the Giants in there. The New York Football Giants. Again, kind of when you're looking at it, and it's like, okay, who won't make it? I think 3 teams made it out of that division last year. Giants had the best season of Daniel Jones's career in a contract year for Daniel Jones. There's a lot of talk about, Saquon, is he happy after being franchise tagged and not getting paid? it's I think I feel justified in thinking that, hey, maybe the Giants won't have, again, and another team that kind of barely squeaked in last year with their record. Again, if we're removing teams, they felt like one of the easier teams to take out.
Okay, so we are 3 for 3. I had 2 at Tampa, I had Seattle, and I had the Giants.
That's unfortunately all the NFC teams I took out, because I just didn't want to take out my Minnesota Vikings, because I just don't think that they're going to miss the playoffs. I think they're going to win the division. And I know you took them out. Jason.
Why would I do that to you?
Because I know you're a massive Detroit Lions fan, and you just like all the other talking heads out there.
That is Jared Goff.
Stop it. I never said that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I did take the Minnesota Vikings out. I have 4 NFC teams out. I am sorry.
It was a lot easier to take out the 4 NFC teams than the 4 AFC teams. But
yeah, so I did 4 NFC and 3 AFC. So you have 4 AFC teams out. All right, so those are my 4. We've got 3 of yours. 3 of ours are the same. So who's your next one?
These are going into the AFC now, and I think all of these are tough, but I'm going to start with the easiest one. I took the Chargers out. Again, this is mainly just kind of because the division, and, I don't know if the Broncos are going to slip in. And, again, if we're doing the exercise of taking teams out of the playoffs, it was really tough to justify taking a lot of teams, especially in the AFC, out of the playoff picture. But I think that they're one of the teams that definitely stood out the most to me. So I feel good about if anyone in the AFC is not going to be in, I think it's going to be the Chargers.
I'm with you. I had the Chargers out. They flirted the last 2 years, missed 2 years ago, made it this last year. I have them. I think they're good, but I have them a team that, kind of invents ways to lose, and they continue to do that. So I have them out.
Yeah, and it's really, really small margins. And so, I don't know. Another team I have out here, these 3 teams, I don't even know if I believe it. This is, again, so that's 4.
Yeah.
And at this point,
4 felt right.
4 felt
but
right.
He went to 7.
He went to 7. So these 3 are definitely stretches. And, looking back, probably, the Vikings would have made this exercise a little bit easier if I would have taken them out. But I'm going bold here. Let's start off with, let's do the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. This one.
Wow.
This one is honestly more of a, hey, we all saw Joe Burrow just had a non-contact calf injury like 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. We're just, and that's happening at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Are we sure he's going to be able to play 17 weeks?
Okay.
That's mainly where that stems.
Yeah.
And, without Joe Burrow, that team's not going in.
Yeah. I mean, a year ago at this time, Packers a lock, Rams a lock.
Right.
They didn't make it.
Exactly.
So Bengals are probably a lock for a lot of teams, but you say no. Okay.
How about the Buffalo Bills, the number 2 seed last year? This is more about the division. I mean, I could see Miami
grabbing at straws.
I am at this point. I could see I'm really just trying to keep the Vikings in at this point. I think, the division is really tough. Can the Jets be a team that wins the division? Can Miami be a team that wins the division? Can the Patriots surprise some people? And, I don't think they'll win the division, but could they be a contender for that last wild card spot? I just think it's a really tough division. I think they're going to beat themselves up. And, a little bit of trouble in paradise there.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs causing some issues in the offseason. Still don't love their running back situation. It feels like they continue to be incredibly reliant on Josh Allen. And, I'm not even really the biggest Gabriel Davis. I don't think he's
the one game that everybody hangs on to.
Exactly. Yeah. So really there's Stephon Diggs deep at receiver. And I just don't know if their defense is great, but I don't know if they have necessarily the complete talent around Josh Allen to survive.
Okay. So you have Tampa, Seattle, Giants, Chargers, Bengals, Bills. Who's team 7?
Team 7. I have the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And this is probably me trying to save the Vikings, but I just a really, really tough division. They've got the Steelers, they've got the Browns, they also have the Bengals as well, going to beat themselves up. Lamar Jackson they're supposedly supposed to pass a whole lot more this season. We'll see if that's good for Lamar. He still, I would say, is unproven as a passer. Definitely, has led the league in passing yards before, but by no stretch would you say, Lamar Jackson is one of the best throwers in the NFL. His legs are a big part of what makes him so dynamic and such a problem to deal with. If they're going to be more pass heavy this year, does that necessarily bode well for the Ravens? Still yet to be seen, but also one of the most consistent teams in the NFL.
Okay, so we're similar on Tampa, Seattle, Giants, and Chargers. You added Bengals, Bills, Ravens.
Yeah.
My differences are I have Vikings,
Okay.
Miami,
Okay.
and Jacksonville.
I am really big on all of those teams this year.
Big on them being good?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the main reason why I couldn't take any of those teams out, especially Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You look at that division again, and I'm like, I don't know if I believe in the Titans, the Texans, and who's the other team in that division? The Colts in that division. Yeah. So that's the only reason I couldn't take them out. And then the Dolphins, I just think that their weapons, maybe I'm not making enough about Tua's, injury past and in the, severity of his concussions. But I just feel like with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill,
Okay.
it's pretty explosive.
Well, this is the fun part of the exercise. So
Yes.
now who's getting rewarded? Who are your 3 NFC teams you see making the playoffs for Tampa, Seattle, and the Giants?
So almost as a direct replacement, like I said, I think the Saints are going to win that
gotta win the
division.
division, yeah.
Exactly. So I just think the Saints are going to win that division. This one might be a little surprising, maybe not to you, because I think I heard you mention that you could see them having a good season. The Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Rams can definitely sneak up on teams. Let's not forget they were in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Had a bad year last year. Sean
Injuries.
McVay, you look at Sean McVay's history, last season was the only bad season he's had. I'm talking 10, 12, 13 wins in every season they've had Sean McVay. That's with Jared Goff. I think they can figure it out to at least be like around 9-7 and be in the hunt. And then the third team might surprise you a little bit. I've got to admit the Detroit Lions, just because they could beat up on the division. I think there's a really good chance that, they finished 9-7 last year. The elite quarterback that is Jared Goff. Stop it.
He's just waiting to hit that.
He's got it on speed dial.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I do think that they have a lot of offensive weapons. I think their defense is still horrendous, but I think that they can pull it together in a very weak division. They're probably going to have a little bit easier of a schedule because they didn't finish first in their division. And yeah, I could see the Lions having an improved season.
So your Tampa, Seattle Giants replaced by Saints, Rams, and Detroit.
Yes.
We had the same 3 NFC teams out. I have those same 3 in.
Really?
With the Saints winning the division, the Rams being a bounce back team. Detroit, I have them in because someone's got to win the North.
Yeah.
And I took the Vikings out. So my other team, because I had one extra NFC team than you, we'll say the Vikings out. Well, that was the Vikings for the Lions. Maybe my other team that's out and the team that's in, I'm putting Atlanta in. There's always a weird team.
Yeah.
I don't love that division overall. They're kind of doing it differently. They're going to really try to run the ball.
Sure.
I don't love Desmond Ridder, but Bijan Robinson is a draft pick.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts. I don't know. I just feel like someone doesn't make sense a lot of years. Like the Giants to me didn't last year.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy high on them, but it's like maybe 9-8, and that gets them in and as the last wild card team.
What do you think about the Packers this year? Do you think
They're a little bit of a puzzle?
Wild card, right?
Yeah. And we all go right to the quarterback, but they also had other issues last year. Like, they did have Rodgers. He didn't play as well, but it was 2 years before that. He was 2 straight MVP, and then they just fell off a cliff.
A lot of young receivers too.
Yeah, lost some of the talent, so I have them out.
I've heard them start to get some smoke behind them. So
okay, so I'm interested by your AFC because you took the Chargers, Bengals, Bills, and Ravens. What are the 4 you have in?
So I have the Jets in because all the hype around the Jets. I've got to start believing it at some point, and they do have Aaron Rodgers, and that's a massive upgrade from last year. So I do have the Jets in. I have the Browns in. I think that they could make a really big leap this year. Let's not forget, Deshaun Watson, before all of this hoopla was a really, really good quarterback. That Browns team is incredibly talented. I think people have forgotten how talented that Browns team is. Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. I can definitely see the Browns making a playoff run. I have the Denver Broncos in there.
Nice.
I am buying into the Sean Payton hype again. I just
You
think
have to know how crazy you sound right now.
I just think it's a huge upgrade from head coach. I think Nathaniel Hackett last year was running.
Sean Payton thinks it's a huge upgrade.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he was running a joke of an operation over there. I think everybody from head to toe was pretty disappointed with how last season was handled, and Sean Payton, bringing that winning culture. I could just see it really flipping its head this season. And then the last AFC team I have, the Pittsburgh Steelers. just always good. I think Mike Tomlin has kept his over 500 streak alive after last year. I just would never, ever count out the Steelers. And Kenny Pickett was –
yes, he can.
He was okay.
Yeah.
He was okay at the end of last year, and I think he's going to build upon that, and I think the Steelers will be just a much improved team this year.
They needed like 9 things to happen in week 18 last year, and like 8 of them did, and they almost made it. Okay, well, we're not that far off. My AFC teams that I had out, Miami, Jacksonville, and the Chargers.
Yep.
Someone's got to win Jacksonville's division. I went with Tennessee. At one point last year, they were 7-2, and they were been on a run. They were the 1 seed the year before. Everything kind of fell apart, and Jacksonville got in at 9-8.
Yeah.
Weird things happened. Just, again, not a great team, but good enough to win the division. I took the Chargers and the Dolphins out, and I realize now my AFC teams that are going to the playoffs are the division-winning Chiefs, apparently the division-winning Tennessee Titans. I'm keeping the Buffalo Bills as winning the division, and the AFC North, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns are all in. I might be off on that one.
I could see it. I mean, I could definitely see it. Everybody in that division. I mean, we listed that as our number 1 division. All those teams are good. All those teams feel like if things go right, they should all be playoff teams, though. I mean,
if they win all their other non-conference, split with each other.
Exactly.
As I did, I go, this might be flawed.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Could be. But
I
mean,
like all 4 teams.
I think, last year 3 NFC East teams
and Washington
made it.
almost made
Washington almost made it. Like it's possible. It's just things have to pan out. Maybe if the Jets don't quite have as successful of a season as what they think, I think it's definitely a possibility.
Well, one thing we're gonna have to find out when we come back. Chris put the Jets in there. Has he got the Hard Knocks fever? Who knows? Hard Knocks episode 3 happened last night. But other sports TV shows, documentaries, what do you watch? Why do you watch them? And are they worth watching? We've got that when we come back on Sactown Sports.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
Jason Ross, Chris Watkins, back here on Whitey and Watkins. As we roll along. You didn't caught up yet on Hard Knocks episode 3, which was last night, but you watched the first couple?
Yeah, I watched the first 2. Didn't have a chance to tune in last night. Starting to get a little stale,
Just the concept of the Jets.
It's just kind of, especially they're not showing people getting cut, and so it's kind of like,
and they did that by design this year.
Yeah,
you like to see people's dreams just be torn apart.
Well, it's just like it's part of the story. Like, I mean, it is a little bit of mystery of they're showing, like, they're always going to show guys who are on the fringe of the roster, but it is is he going to make it or is he not? And if you take that will he, won't he out of the situation?
They usually do both. It's like, oh man, they cut him.
Exactly.
Oh, but he made it. The next
Exactly.
guy, and you're like, families are crying. You're like, this is awesome.
Right. Exactly. And I just think that at this point, the story's been told. Like, we know what happens in every NFL training camp. And I just think it's gotten to the point where unless you're a fan directly of the team that's being focused on, I just don't really know what's the excitement?
Yeah.
What is drawing you week after week after week? Unless it's, I think this episode might be where Dalvin Cook gets signed. There's a little bit of intrigue there, but for the most part, unless something big happens, like what's really the excitement? Like, there's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the Antonio Brown Raiders season where it's like, I have to see what John Gruden had to say about this feet being burned thing.
Who's knocking or whatever, all that they did.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's a lot of these things the last couple of years, a lot of different kinds of shows, sports shows, and I kind of usually eat them all up. Like
Same.
the Jordan 10-piece document was just amazing. But like Last Chance U, these quarterbacks. Chris, you were just saying earlier, you watched the Florida, like on Florida football, Urban Meyer's run.
I think it's Swamp Kings.
Yeah. It's part of the Untold series though, isn't it?
Which has been amazing.
Yeah.
But
except for
this one,
this season hasn't.
It's been disappointing.
Yeah.
So you did not give a very good review of this Florida one.
No,
because
it feels like
it's propaganda for like
it feels
positive,
very sanitized.
Okay,
and it feels like they let Urban Meyers just rewrite what happened in Florida.
And I'm not here to see like all the worst things that ever happened, but just keep it real. Like, I mean.
There are
there's stories though for Florida. Like, I would want to know, like, what did people know more about Aaron Hernandez than we knew, or was that like truly a surprise?
If you are looking for anything on Aaron Hernandez in this documentary, don't even bother.
Just waste your time.
Yeah. But they're like little like nuggets that you get in it from players and people covering the teams. So you'll get like one of the players saying how rough the practices were and saying like, I would never let my child do what I did. I don't want my child to know what I did.
So it's brutal.
What I did on the field, how I hurt people, how I wanted to hurt people. I don't want them knowing any of that. So you're like, okay, let's get into that.
Right.
And it's not covered at all. It's like, oh, Ole Miss is next.
You know what I heard was really good, and I didn't see. Did either of you guys see the quarterback one?
Yeah. Yeah, we both loved it.
Okay.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was Mahomes, right? And
Mahomes, Kirk, and Marcus Mariota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, odd tree. I knew Mahomes was one of them. So really good.
It was really good. Yeah. It's really well done how they have those three because they're in three completely different scenarios where Patrick Mahomes is this massive star. He ends up winning the Super Bowl in the season. Kirk has always kind of been this mid-level, middle-class quarterback.
I heard he's kind of goofy.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Yeah,
okay. Give me an example. Either of you or both of you.
I mean,
he's got a museum to himself in his house.
He does. Yeah, like a little, it's shrine-esque.
Yes. Where he's got like jerseys and stuff like that. He's got like high school stuff.
Like mannequins, fully dressed mannequins that have like his jerseys and stuff.
Yes.
In his house.
In his house. It's like in a closet. It is quite
like
literally
if this was a fan of his, you're like, oh, this is a little weird, dude.
Yeah.
But
Like it's probably the size of Chris's studio.
And it's all his stuff in his house.
It's all his stuff.
And isn't he, did I hear right? Isn't he like Phillip Rivers where oh gosh darn it, like he's not a swear?
To an extent, yeah. I think
golly
publicly, I think yes.
Okay.
But I think,
I mean, that's fine if you are. I'm just like I heard he's a little bit like that.
Definitely. Yeah. No, he definitely brings that, G. Willikers, shucks energy for sure.
How was Mariota?
Loved Mariota.
He's very relatable, very down to
earth. It's one of the ones where like I really don't care about the football because it's him. It's him with his wife, and they're having a kid and stuff like that. So dealing with that.
Was he a Falcon or a Raider?
Falcon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's dealing with him having like a new family, but then also on top of that, the Falcons aren't good.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish from that is because remember the whole situation where he's like, oh, he's taking some time away from the team, and that's basically where his story ends.
Yeah.
Like it's over. You don't hear from him again.
Oh, wow. I like these shows. I like those things.
Oh, they're great.
I mean, when I don't know, I just 30 for 30s.
So good.
Real sports, Hard Knock. I mean, just I don't know. The Kings when they did the run, like that's just
terrific.
You feel like you know the team and the inside, but it might be something you learn about an assistant coach or behind the scenes. I love that stuff.
It's just, I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical, but it's just humanizing them.
Yeah.
That's really what
Very
it is.
true.
Like, it's just, it gives you a different
Good and
lens
bad.
to view the entire, not only these individuals, but the entire sport. Like you mentioned Last Chance U, like that really opened my eyes to just, like this football dream or this basketball dream, it's really that. It's a dream.
Mhm.
Like it is something that these kids, we're watching kids at Laney College or in the middle of Mississippi that are just, they all believe to a person, this is just a stop in the road to the NFL. And the fact is 99% of them don't make it.
Yeah.
And these are kids at this one junior college. And like, you're not even at Alabama. You're not at Georgia.
Yeah.
You're at a junior college because you've messed up along the way and you still believe that you're on track to be an NFL player. And just, it just gives you a greater appreciation for those who are on the fringe of NFL rosters or guys who didn't make it. It just kind of gives you a different perspective on those stories.
Yeah. I love it. I don't know
I do too.
what are some of your favorites that you've seen?
I think Last Chance U is great. I think the basketball and the
Last
football
Chance U
one
still on? Do they still do that?
They take a while in between seasons, but yeah,
I know they're doing like a wrestling version of it.
Are they? Really?
Professional wrestling? Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of
that's really interesting.
I know you'll love that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I just like the format. The format is just really, really well done.
Well, that one really humanizes. Like you feel like you really get to know
you're following the kids in the dorms and everything.
Like their parents or if they're married.
Talking
or they
trash
have a
about the
baby.
coaches. Yeah, exactly.
One of the better ones that just came out was the one on Oscar De La Hoya on HBO.
Oh, yeah, you said
and
that.
that was one of the ones where like he was part of it. Like Urban Meyer is a part of this, but he is like, I'm not going to say he's 100% honest, but he's telling a lot of stories like, this isn't who what you saw out in public, that's not who I am. These are all my faults. I didn't handle this well. I did terrible at this. Like, which you kind of hope Urban Meyer would do.
Right.
But it was just like, oh, I was the greatest.
Urban Meyer taking accountability? Come on, please.
Yeah.
The one show I will say, it's really, really good. I enjoy, it's probably my most rewatchable of all of these. There's a series on Netflix called Cheer. That's about cheerleading at a junior college level. Competitive cheerleading. You would never think in your life. Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. You're like
men and women,
like, men and women. Yeah, and it's at a junior college in Texas, and they're like the best junior college cheer team there is. Just like the amount of you just don't think about.
So it's the same as the sport. Just like
kids
struggle
are
to make
begging for scholarships. This is
Wow.
like the place to be. There's this one massive tournament in Florida at the end of the year that like everybody's prepping for, and they do the cheerleader stuff like once a year. They'll go to a football game, but it's not like what you would like. These people are really gymnasts that are using cheerleading as like a vehicle to express their craft. But it's a great show. It's literally done. I think it's probably done by the same people who make Last Chance U. It's done in a very, very similar, almost exact, kind of plot line that it follows, but it's really, really good. Heavily recommend.
Fan of all these. I mean, I get to your point too, because sometimes like I've been not a fan of like which team they pick for Hard Knocks.
Right.
Like, I don't think there's gonna be a great story here. And then you get they pull you in. Like if you get hooked, then you're done. Like you're in like I gotta pay this off and watch the rest of the episodes. But it's the beauty of how they do this stuff.
Yeah.
So good work. I'm glad we've got a lot of choices out there.
There's
for
tons.
people to check out.
Infinite choices almost. Yeah. It's really
E60.
Are you a the Laker show?
I haven't, and everybody I hear that's really good.
I could see how it's polarizing because people who really went through that era, I could see how you're like, that's not exactly how it happened.
but I
but
could take it for the entertainment of it.
Because
I've heard it's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a drama. It's like it's meant to over exaggerate things. Larry Bird is just it's just a caricature of the actual situations that happen.
I'm trying to think the last one, it was a little bit ago now, I've got one part left. There's 4 parts of the Bill Walton 30 for 30. Luckiest man in the world. I love it.
So
just the footage they have of him as a kid playing is crazy. So
do you remember, real quick, do you remember that ESPN when they were doing like drama shows?
Yeah.
And they had the Bronx is Burning? Did you ever watch that? That was so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like about the Yankees and the Steinbrenner Yankees.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like,
forgot that.
I got to be able to watch that somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it's somewhere for sure. All right, it's that time. When we come back, our bold Kings predictions of the day. What does Chris have? What do I have? We've got that coming your way next.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Cunningham. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Dirk Verdorn in the KCRA3 Weather Center, and sunny skies today and a bit of a north breeze, helping to bump temperatures into the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. Expect to have a warm evening tonight. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Did you know the average person walks 100,000 miles in their lifetime? It's true. That's a whole lot of stress, strain, and pressure ultimately put on 2 feet. Hi, DC Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store. As a spokesperson for Good Feet, I run into all sorts of surprising foot-related facts. Like despite relatively few Americans being born with foot issues, over time, 75% of all adults will experience painful foot or foot-related problems. By supporting all 4 arches of the foot, the Good Feet 3-step arch support system can help return your foot and whole body to its proper alignment. Come to the Good Feet store for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at AcuraofStockton.com.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Gold Country Casino Resort Norville is proud to present one of the most powerful voices in country music. Come on now, we're running out of moonlight. Randy Houser live in concert on Saturday, September 23rd. Let me show you how. Country. Purchase your tickets now to see all of Randy Houser's greatest hits. Only at Gold Country Casino Resort. Must be 21 or older.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlad with your Sactown Sports headlines. According to the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, the 49ers have named quarterback Sam Darnold as the backup quarterback. The Niners have their final preseason game this Friday against the Chargers in LA. You can listen to Friday's game right here on Sactown Sports. The Oakland A's will try and get their second 3-game sweep of the season today when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Adrian Martinez will be on the bump for the A's to go up against Cole Reagans of the Kansas City Royals. First pitch is just a couple minutes from now at the Coliseum. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
I mean, by now you got to have the app. I have the app. It's easy. It's
I
right
have the
there
app too.
Yeah.
You get push notifications on
Yes.
occasion, just on occasion, only when you need it.
Yeah. I was looking at the app yesterday because you also, besides hosting a show and writing articles, also have the podcast still with Frankie.
Yes.
And that shows up there when you guys do a
Yes.
Return of the Roar.
Yes.
I did my first Stingers Up football podcast
Really?
yesterday for the new season. Starts a week. We travel a week from today.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Game is
so
a
you're
week
going to
from
be
tomorrow.
leaving us pretty soon, just every so
Well,
often. That's the worst part about it.
Not this is rare. The
Sure.
their game was supposed to be Labor Day weekend, the start of college football next.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's some games I think this weekend, but they were supposed to play next Saturday. The team they play, Nickel State out of Louisiana, wanted to move it up to Thursday, so we're playing next Thursday.
Okay.
But I did anyway. The first podcast is out there. That's also us on the app or on SactownSports.com. The Stingers Up Hornet Football Podcast.
Not to spoil the episode, but how are the vibes? Have you been out there? Have you
I
been out
have,
to practice?
yeah.
How are people feeling now that new man in charge? Oh, I guess new man up top.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
same structure.
The one thing, and I'm taking this in a healthy way. I get the sense that Troy Taylor was incredible.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to replace it, or
And
replace what he did.
Right, and I think everybody that's players included, anybody involved in the football team in the program is proud of what they did. They should be back-to-back conference champions. And I'm not going to say it in the way that it sounds, I guess. It's not like they're tired of hearing Troy Taylor.
Sure.
But, hey, I was the receiver that caught the passes.
Right.
I was the special teams coach that coached the special teams. Or I was the fullback. Or, it was everybody.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that group loves Troy, wishes him well, but it's like,
We're
also
still here. Yeah.
and we have a good team. And now I don't even think it's a chip on their shoulder, but I think it's a good thing. It's like, let us now prove it again. And if you do, then it's also you guys. I mean, it's everybody anyway, but I think that's the vibe I'm getting.
Okay.
And they're ranked highly. And, it's up to them. They got to back it up.
Right. Of course, during preseason, everyone's going to feel positively about the season, but you feel like this is more of we're picking up where we left off more than this is a good opportunity to kind of reset things a little.
Yeah. And I get the feeling too. And I know the coaches well enough. I don't feel it's coach speak. There's a lot of coaches going, this is the best fill in the room, linebacker room we've ever had. This is the best running back room we've ever had. I'm like, well, you guys have just been pretty good.
Right.
And I'm getting more and more of that from the coaches that I've talked to. And I said, well, that's good.
Right.
Again, now you have to back it up. You start, 0-3, and it's like, well, you guys aren't the same team. So,
and it's not just Troy Taylor. They're missing Scadabo's also.
That's a big miss. Both quarterbacks that were all league are gone. So, I mean, but they've got a lot coming back.
Sure.
And naturally, everybody goes right to the quarterbacks. Like, well, you don't have this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now it's new faces and new opportunities.
Yeah. Exciting time.
Yeah. Podcast 1, you get to hear about the offensive side. Next week, we'll release podcast 2 of the defense, and then we'll kind of be in the flow, just like you guys will be with Return of the Roar. And
can't wait.
I'm sure you will have many bold predictions between you and Frankie, but you and Whitey have been doing this every day. And,
yes, every day.
I was initiated to it yesterday. Let me test mine because you weren't here.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I dropped this one on Whitey. I said, by the end of the year, I think, and I didn't know how to word it exactly, but I kind of landed on Chris Duarte will be as important as any bench piece to this team, might even be one of the key, or I put it this way, he will be on the finishing lineup to more games than not. I think
that is not what you said.
What did I say, Chris?
You said by the end of the season, Chris Duarte will be the most important player off the bench for the Kings.
I was kind of saying that.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. I forgot that he listens.
Yeah.
And he writes these down.
Writes it down. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I like that prediction. I like that prediction a lot. I think Chris Duarte is going to surprise a lot of people with the role he's going to have.
I don't believe we brought it up yesterday. What are your thoughts on my nickname for Chris Duarte?
Oh, yeah. This is on you, Jason.
Have I heard it?
I don't know. So like you're trying to get everything that like what makes them them. Chris Duarte, he's from Canada. He's his family's from the Dominican Republic. He's like a strong player. So I went with Maple Fuerte.
Maple Fuerte.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I need more time with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to sit with it a little bit.
Yeah. I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, where's Chris going to go with this? So
like say you're calling the game and he makes a layup. It puts the Kings up by like 15 points.
I would say, especially if you're running the board, you'll have put that in my head. You know, I'm going to say it. I'm Ron Burgundy. If you put something in my head, I'm going to say it. Right? So I think that'll happen.
I'm still, it's still got to grow on me. I like the sound of it, like the Fuerte especially. Like that's
didn't know the
really
Canada part.
cool.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't know that.
So the thing is, I believe he was born in Canada, but like the nation that he claims is the DR because he was gonna play for the Dominican Republic in this FIBA tournament. He backed out last minute.
So should we do more with Fuerte?
I mean, I think Chris's point is it's a mixture of both.
Which
right?
trying to get everything in.
I know where you're. I just when you went the Maple part, I'm like I didn't.
Gotta be Canadian, yeah.
But I don't know now if you need to explain it. Like it just needs to be like self-explanatory.
Exactly.
Boom, it lands. Everybody goes, "Oh, that's clever."
Really quick before we get into our bold, do you know Jerry's nicknames? Have we?
I think he's dropped a few of them, but if you give me some more of, I love these because Jerry's good at this stuff.
He's the best. Demonis Sabonis, Zagatron.
Okay. Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox, Master Blaster. Also has a phrase here. No fouls in the Fox house.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Kevin Huerter, the Red Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan Murray, Wonder Boy. Davion Mitchell, Straight Jacket, which I like. Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Harrison Barnes, Cool Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is masterpiece right here. Malik Monk,
Chipmunk.
Yeah. Just the best.
Chipmunk.
Just the absolute best. Jerry Reynolds.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. So
do you have a bold prediction for today?
Yes. And my bold prediction can actually be found also as well on SactownSports.com. Great plug. Great website also where you can find articles written by the hosts that you love. Jason Ross, Carmichael Dave, Whitey Gleason, and myself.
I use big font. It's okay.
Yes, exactly. So everyone can read it. It makes sense. As I try and find where they put this article, here we go.
Buried it.
My thoughts are essentially the Kings are going to start 2-0, and there's going to be a very fun weekend cap of Warriors' second game of the season, home opener on Friday night. It's going to set off the weekend. Crowd's going to be rocking. Again, it's opening night. Might be lifting up a banner or two. It's going to be a great night on Friday. Kings are going to blow out the Warriors, those old men from across the bay. It's going to be a wash. You know how we're going to end that weekend on Sunday night? A nice demolition of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow.
Kings are going to start the season 3-0.
What do we do with ourselves? Where's the drama? Like,
no,
none.
Don't
just a smooth sailing.
That's all going to happen later. We're going to be riding off the fumes of the playoffs and the excitement of last year. We're going to light the beam 3 times to start the season, to start off.
So that'd be Utah Warriors Lakers.
Utah Warriors Lakers, and might honestly, my other prediction from a couple weeks is the Kings are going to sweep the Warriors this season. So actually, if you combined all of them, they're going to start 4-0 because if I'm not mistaken, the Warriors are the 4th game of the season as well.
And I don't think that one's the cup game yet. So,
no, it's not.
So if they sweep them, that means they got a couple of cup wins, at least 2, or one.
One that'll put them 1 Continental, son.
Wait, what happened?
That's a long story.
Okay,
it's a story that Whitey told us, but. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Kings are going to start 3-0 is my bold Kings prediction of today.
My bold Kings prediction of the day today is from the lovely and talented De'Aaron Fox.
Ooh,
so good.
Like that guy.
So great. Great year last year. Remember how he won the first ever Jerry West Clutch Award?
I do remember that. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
It's one of those things that's introduced to us.
Yeah.
It's like, who's really cares? But then it's like, hey, De'Aaron's actually leading in clutch points. Like, we're going to keep following this. Hey, he's going to win this thing. That was really fun.
Just ran away.
Yeah.
With it, honestly.
It ran away with it.
Yeah.
He's going to do it again.
Wow.
He's going back to back. It should be named the De'Aaron Fox Award.
First ever back-to-back clutch player.
He is going to do it again. They're going to be in some games that are close.
Okay.
He's fourth quarter Fox.
Yeah.
The numbers won't go away. They still have other complementary pieces around him. He's taking this thing home again.
Okay.
He's doing it
I
again.
love it. I love it. And you know what I love is that we've been doing this for 3 weeks now. Neither of us has said that.
Yeah.
No. As a matter of fact, I think I said the opposite. I think I said the Kings aren't going to win any postseason awards. But
okay. Well, we've got a difference of opinion.
Competing. Yeah, we've got some competing.
And De'Aaron
thoughts
is just
there.
going to come in and
I
take
love
it for
that.
a second straight time.
I love that so much. Do you know what Whitey's was yesterday?
Yesterday, Chris, I know Will. Whitey said yesterday. Let's see.
Davion Mitchell will be second team All-NBA defense.
That guy's obsessed with Davion Mitchell. I could see it. That's actually a good one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous I wasn't here for that.
Well, is it fact or is it fantasy? We've got the showdown. I'm 1-0 lifetime. I'm just trying to get
That is
I'm trying to
true.
go back to back like Fox.
It's just a fact.
We'll see if it's real or not. Fact or fantasy is next here on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Will Christian McCaffrey lead the NFL in rushing? Can Sacramento's own Eric Armstead bring his game to another level?
Prescott back steps up in the pocket. He gets sacked. Back on the 15-yard line. Get in my belly.
Get in my
says
belly.
Eric Armstead.
Will rookie Jake Moody pick up where veteran kicker Robbie Gould left off? Find out on Whitey and Watkins every day at 11 a.m. during the 49ers Focus on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Are you ready to cruise into the new school year in style? Look no further than Elk Grove Kia's Back to School sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 Forte 24-month lease of $149 plus tax of $41.30 required at signing residual of $15,256 at $10K per year. 20 cents per mile. Reserve security deposit required subject to finance approval. GK 8920 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K5 24-month lease of $299 plus tax of $47.12 required at signing residual of $21,782 at $10K per year. 20 cents per mile. Reserve security deposit required subject to finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ready for a sizzling football season? Take your game day parties to the next level with Napoleon Prestige Grills from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Fire up the grill and score big with mouth-watering burgers, juicy steaks, and finger-licking wings. Napoleon Prestige Grills bring the heat and come complete with a lifetime warranty. Get your ultimate game day companion today. Visit your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply and elevate your tailgate experience with Napoleon Prestige Grills. Green Acres Nursery and Supply, your one-stop shop for grilling greatness this football season. Visit idategreenacres.com for the store near you. Game on.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, the A's' Brent Rooker had only 25 at-bats last year for the Royals before they designated him for assignment in the offseason. Well, now it took the A's only 2 days to sign him, and on Monday the 21st, Rooker's career came kind of full circle in a way, as his walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning gave the A's a 6-4 win over the Royals. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
At aimyourdigital.com,
We'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and 0 down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Heading for a showdown. That's right. It's the time for Factor Fantasy Showdown. Coming up next segment, too, by the way, some developing news with the 49ers. We talked earlier about quarterback 1. We know that. But quarterback 2, it's a lock. Who's in and maybe who's not. There's some more on that coming up in just a few moments that we're going to have for you here. But it's that time, the much anticipated time. Factor Fantasy, the royal helmet, if you win, it's pretty elite.
Yeah, no,
So,
it doesn't get any better.
It was a proud moment. I was a little upset that I wore it for the rest of the show after winning it. It was a badge of honor. Whitey didn't take me seriously. You came out. I didn't feel like you took me seriously.
Yeah, no, it's really tough to take anyone seriously when they're wearing like a
I wore it with pride.
1930s helmet on their head.
I tried to own it, wear it with confidence. You guys were laughing at me.
Yeah, I mean, even confidence can't really pull off this thing. I think it's good that this helmet was left in the past.
I think you're just trying to make sure I don't win. Like, you don't want to.
I just want you to not want it, essentially. I'm trying to make sure that
you've got to want it to win it, and I want it more.
Well,
that's
just not true.
Chris, you ready?
All rise.
Oh,
apparently we've completely forgotten without Whitey in
Sorry.
the building.
Sorry.
I heard you didn't always rise. If I hear that, I will rise.
I rise like 90% of the time.
Hey, there's Whitey. He's rising. He's risen.
Hey!
It's all his risen.
He is risen.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Jason, since you're our big winner from yesterday,
I thought I was
actually,
a guest.
yeah, here you go.
We're gonna start with you.
Keep that near you.
Okay.
Reggie Bush is right to sue the NCAA for defamation. Fact
Guilty!
or fantasy?
Yeah. Let me see. Reggie Bush is right to sue the NCAA. Fantasy.
And I just lost.
It's
fantasy.
just a fantasy. Oh,
keep talking. I gotta find it.
Okay. Fantasy. And some might be going, oh, that sounds like a guy who likes UCLA and hates USC. You're 100% right. I'm not hiding bias. I think he's guilty. I don't even know what he did. I think they should take the Heisman from him, his mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
The school should fold every game. The school should fold. They are corrupt. They're dangerous. And Reggie Bush, I will not go to Wendy's because he has commercials for them. And I can only admit that he's a wonderful football player. Besides that, fantasy.
Wow. I'm so glad I put this
no
on here.
bias.
I'm sorry, Jason. I'm really sorry, but this is a fact.
That's the fact.
Look at that. I
Where
get
was
sound.
my
I
fantasy?
get noise. That's right. Because Reggie was wronged. The fact that they took this man, they personally turned this man
dirty
into something that just made it way bigger than what it actually was. I mean,
I object.
You know how many people take money from their schools?
It's
Zion
legal
Williams.
now.
It's literally legal now. And
it wasn't then.
The NCAA stripped this man. It was like the Louisville basketball championships where they stripped them and they just wanted us to completely forget that it ever existed and erase it from history. And they made Reggie Bush out to be like some terrible person.
Agree. Awful human. You said it.
Maybe the best college football player I have seen in my lifetime.
He was okay.
It was the funnest time to watch college football, in my very young opinion. I was a massive Reggie Bush fan, and I think that he deserves every single penny that he can get from the NCAA because they just made him out to be the worst person out there.
One quick rebuttal because it might help me win. Also, the Bush push was illegal. Did it against Notre Dame. Shouldn't have happened.
Chris, you've been in this courthouse a long time.
Yeah.
You know how anti-NCAA this courthouse is.
Good point.
Unfortunately, you don't know that this courthouse is even more anti-USC.
Wow.
You get 0 points. Jason takes the lead.
Wow.
On
I
to
must
the
have
next
really
question.
messed up if Jason's getting points.
Chris.
Yes.
Khalil Mack's Chargers and Derek Carr's Saints will both have more wins this season than the Raiders. Fact or fantasy?
Sorry, Raider Nation, but this is a fact.
That's the fact. Yeah.
The Raiders are probably going to win like 5, maybe 6 games, 7 at best. There's no way they're going to finish above 500. I think the Chargers, who are coming off a playoff run last year, I had them as one of my teams out in the 7 in, 7 out exercise, but I still think the Chargers are at least going to be on the fringe of being a playoff team. They're definitely going to have a winning record. Khalil Mack is not the guy that he's been in the past, but that Chargers team is still stacked. And then Derek Carr and the Saints, again, somebody's got to win that division, and it's probably going to be at about 500, and that still puts the Saints above the Raiders. So, unfortunately, Raider Nation, I'm sorry. I just don't see you guys picking up many wins this year.
Well, I'm sorry about this answer from you, Chris. You were wrong. It is a fantasy. Wow. Oh, there it is. I did want to hear that this time. It's an and. It's both teams. I don't think both teams will be better than the Raiders. Have you seen that new and improved defensive line? You see what they did to the Niners in preseason game number 1? And they also have, his aunt even said it in the Subway commercial. Jimmy G, he's so handsome. Jimmy G is a winner. We want winners, silver and black. The greatness is in their future. The future is now. That's a fantasy. And can I talk more about USC and Reggie Bush being a fraud?
You're adding a lot to the extra. You don't get points for that. I'm totally with you, Chris. I don't think the Raiders fans are going to be very happy this season.
Yeah, I can't see it.
You're getting the point. So
thank you.
We're getting close to the end here. We've got one final question. With the news that Sam Darnold has been chosen as a backup quarterback, we will never see Trey Lance play for the 49ers again. Fact or fantasy, Jason?
This is fresh news. I feel like I need more time to take it in, but I can't. I don't have the time. So I'm going to answer fact.
That's the fact, Jack.
His days are done. Sadly, Brandon Allen getting reps today at practice. There's going to be more on this literally in the next segment of the show. They drafted him 3rd. He should have developed by now. He's too programmed. He can't quite figure it out. They're going to make the bold decision. They've already locked in on Purdy. Maybe Sam Darnold also would have to melt. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to try to get what they can for him. And sadly, Trey Lance's days as a Niner are over.
I'm sorry, Jason, but this is a fantasy. Oh, at least we get to hear the music one more time. But, look at the history of the 49ers. The fact that they continue to have to cycle through more than one quarterback in a season, and then the fact that Sam Darnold's the backup. When was the last time Sam Darnold was able to hold down his job? It's been a really, really long time.
Not at USC.
It hasn't happened in the pros either. And, even if Sam Darnold does come in, Trey Lance is going to get some snaps at some point this season, whether it be in some special packages or, again, just through injury. I don't think that this is the last we've seen of Trey Lance this season. After this season, maybe sure, but for this season, it feels like they're too deep in this. Trey Lance is going to be on the roster for the season, and he's more than likely going to get at least some snaps this year for the Niners.
Both of you guys made excellent points. It's tough to come up with a winner here.
Thank you.
Chris, we're going to be getting into it in the next segment. I don't know if you saw the text that I sent you. It's looking like it's the last time that we've seen Trey Lance play. Jason, you get the win and might possibly be the only undefeated person in fact or fantasy. Congratulations.
Wow. I hope you're happy, Chris. I hope you got exactly what you wished for.
You all did. Look at this. Look.
This feels like one of the champ videos where Chris is like,
Whitey's
you're going to win. You're going to win, Jason. And then he's just going to come in during the break and be like, Jason, give me the hat back.
Oh, I love this.
Okay.
Can we talk more about Reggie Bush in the entire final hour at
Absolutely.
USC?
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
When we come back, we will get into that story. Yes, there is a development coming out of San Francisco. Brock Purdy, QB1. We know that. Sam Darnold has been named QB2. And where is Trey Lance? Literally, where is he? We'll have that when we come back next.
Need the breakdown of the latest 49er game?
Trey Lance needed to do more with what he was given. He just looked frantic. He looked panicked. He didn't look in rhythm.
Want to know what to expect from the Beam team this season?
I don't honestly know who's going to have a better record, the Warriors or the Kings. That's interesting because the Warriors did have a lot of injuries last year, but they're also old. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you think they're going to have injuries again this year?
Got to get that MLB fix down the stretch? Looking for articles from your favorite hosts.
For all that and more, visit SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hi, it's Brian Bennett from Bennett's Restaurants in Roseville and Sacramento, and our newest restaurant, Bennett's West Side Grill at Rockland's Blue Oak Town Center on Lone Tree Boulevard. We believe in serving the freshest handcrafted foods in a warm, convivial setting. We offer a great brunch featuring all your favorite plates, eggs Benedict, omelets, stuffed French toast, and much more. Pair the great food with great mimosas, and the weekend fun has just begun. And did you know that our Bubbles and Brunch special, featuring any 2 brunch entrees and a bottle of bubbles, is just $44 for 2? Having a meeting or large group dinner? Our newest restaurant in Rockland features 3 different event-sized spaces for large group gatherings. 80 guests, no problem. Bennett's Kitchen Bar and Market, Eureka and Lead Hill Roads in Roseville, and Bennett's American Cooking on Fair Oaks and Howe in Sacramento. And our brand new Bennett's West Side Grill at Rockland's Blue Oak Town Center on Lone Tree Boulevard. Find us on the web at bennettsrestaurants.com and book your reservation today. Eat well, stay well, and remember, Bennett's is where you'll always receive a hospitable welcome.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be, or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. And why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Don't wait, the giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports. Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
He is Chris Watkins. I am Jason Ross, also known as undefeated two-time Factor Fantasy Showdown, permanent owner of the leather helmet. What else can I add to that?
Actually a fact.
See, thanks, Draymond. You okay?
Yeah, I don't take losing well.
Yeah,
it's a flaw of mine.
It's honestly
that's why I'm the bad boy.
Exactly. One of the stunners before I heard the segment, I heard it for years, and then heard you guys do it, and I said, "Oh, Chris is judging. I have zero chance to win. Yeah. Zero. Like I'll never win.
Right.
And I'm 2-0. It's kind of.
I was like,
but I feel like he's tricking me.
I was gonna say you're not suspicious.
I am, but it's only 2, and I'm gonna take it with pride. But I'll drive home going while I hear the beep of my car going, yeah, Chris is planning something.
He's
here.
planning something. I'm telling you, he's lulling
better.
you into a false sense of security.
I got an idea.
Exactly. he's pulling something.
Yeah.
Don't get too comfortable.
Well, I'm trying to understand things. I always try to understand, Chris. Help me understand this. A tweet from the great Matt Mayoko.
Yes.
In a major development at 49ers training camp, quarterback Trey Lance is, in bold here, not on the practice field. Sources says the team is considering all options with the number 3 overall pick of 2021 NFL draft. QBs at practice are Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen. We started the show talking about how Kyle Shanahan had said, yeah, I'll name that number 2 quarterback, and maybe it switches, but maybe around Pittsburgh. We also heard from multiple reports earlier in the day that the number 2 quarterback is Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
So if we've got QB1, we've got QB2, we logically thought Trey Lance is QB3. He's not at practice.
Yeah.
I don't want to read too much into it, but I think there's a lot to read into that.
I think there is too. Yeah.
Has he been traded? Is he not happy? What is going on?
I wish I knew that before the last Factor fantasy question. I'll tell you that. I was making this big thing about how Trey Lance, it might be next season, but for this season.
I mean, I really could have texted both of you that news, but.
Yeah. The odds of you
that's
reading
more
the
Jason's
text
fault.
over me are higher too. Like Chris can sometimes send me a text and I respond to him 8 hours later, go, oh yeah, I saw that. And he's like, yeah, I sent that at 4 a.m. Or
I mean, if I want to be technical, like it is kind of your fault, Jason, because this is getting into more of a cultural talk, but you have an Android. And so I couldn't see the previews on the text. Whereas if you had an iPhone, if you had an iMessage, it just would have popped up and I wouldn't have to click, x.com. I'm like, whoa, what is this link Chris is sending me?
He typed it out for me. He walked it in here.
Okay, see, that's not fair.
Okay.
That's not fair.
That's exactly what it reads.
Jason, again, this is really starting to smell like Chris is setting you up, and the fact that you're not seeing it is, I'm starting to see why. Exactly. I'm just saying. Jason wins twice.
I get the information first.
Connect the dots here.
Let's connect these dots. So I always thought if he was not QB2, that I didn't think there's any harm in keeping him as QB3. It's also not any harm in trading him. I mean, you could trade him if there's something for him. I think you're trading him for less than what they probably could have at the peak.
Right.
He's not at his peak. What do you think is happening here?
I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
And I would say that this definitely, again, what's the thing that I keep saying about Trey Lance? He needs reps.
Yeah.
I mean,
he won't get him as QB3.
And he won't be getting him if he's missing practice. And I would assume, I assume they told him, hey, Trey, just so you know, we're making this announcement today. We assume we know how you feel about this, and, we're going to move forward with trying to find you a better situation. How about you, get your mind right and get ready to kind of pack your bags and get everything situated.
In the break,
how I'm reading it.
In the break, who did you say had some? Was it Minnesota that has expressed some interest?
So it is, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network and NFL.com has put out there already, almost immediately after tweeting out about Trey Lance, not missing out on practice. He says, as the 49ers weigh options for Trey Lance, calling his hometown team the Minnesota Vikings makes sense. Nothing is impossible, but Minnesota has a backup at Nick Mullins and drafted rookie QB Jaron Hall post-draft. These deals are harder and harder to make. So that is something that I had heard even at the start of training camp, that there was, the Viking. It was definitely more Vikings fans were starting to, hey, like, this is a local kid. Trey went to high school in Minnesota, and from what I understand, he wasn't like some big, like Jalen Suggs was like a 5-star quarterback and basketball player. He wasn't like the biggest name in Minnesota, but was still pretty well known in the area. So there's a little bit of, hey, like, let's bring this kid back home, get him comfortable. And if any situation's going to thrive, he's going to thrive in, it's in a situation where it's very similar to that of what he would be in San Francisco. He's not going to overtake Kirk Cousins as that QB1, but it is a more clear development plan of, okay, Kirk's contract's up at the end of this year. Trey, if you get comfortable in this season, and then maybe going into next season, we'll give you a legitimate chance on top of, we'll probably also bring some young quarterbacks in, maybe draft a quarterback in an early round, but you could see how that could be one of the better situations that he can walk into, obviously, with all the talent the Vikings have at receiver as well.
Also from Twitter or from X, whatever, David Lombardi, who covers this team, said, posed this question: can the 49ers cut Trey Lance? Well, his fully guaranteed contract as a first-round pick means it would be $5.3 million more expensive against the cap to cut Lance than to keep him. So he doubts no there. But how about a trade? They could save the Niners $3.8 million in cap space for this specific year at a time when the team is operating with very limited room. So of the two, that seems more likely.
Sure.
He also could still be QB3, and I don't know if it's we're talking, telling you all options behind closed door. I don't know. I mean, it could be an emotional thing.
Right.
I don't know what his camp and he himself thinks, but all we're doing is speculating here. But I think the fact is, Darnold's been named number 2. Lance is not at practice today.
What do you think of the biggest pushback I've heard this entire training camp of, or even before that, all summer long, all off season long, of why the Niners shouldn't trade Trey Lance before the season starts, is because let's say Trey Lance is going to get moved. It's probably a 4th round pick at best.
Okay.
Isn't he more valuable as a third quarterback option, a break in case of emergency option for the Niners than what that 4th round pick would get back in return? That's the one thing that I would say. I mean, that makes the most sense as to why you shouldn't just get rid of him for the sake of getting rid of him.
Yeah, I know where you're going. To me, logically, my first answer would be yes, but then I think I would stretch it out and say, the question you're asking, is he more valuable as a third, to keep him as the third QB over the 4th round pick? But I guess the difference would be, what's the difference of Brandon Allen being the third QB versus what that 4th round pick would be? Because if that gap between Lance and Allen is
marginal,
kind of non-negotiable, whatever, it's like slim margin, then let's get something, I guess, would be the answer to me. But I also would say I wouldn't want to give up on him, but if everything goes right, Purdy's great, then when will Lance get the chance?
And why would his value be any more next season? Like, it'll just continue to reduce.
To me, the only chance that Trey Lance's value goes up is if what happened last year happened. So Purdy gets hurt, Darnold gets hurt, Lance gets thrown. He's like, wow, he does Purdy, and he plays 8 games, and he plays pretty good. And then, but then is he your QB1?
Exactly.
So it's a scenario the Niners don't want to go through. And that's why I think they now have 4 QBs in camp. But because I think you could still probably get more for him than Brandon Allen, let's say, and save, if that's true, $3.8 million of cap space. It's probably why they're exploring that, or could be exploring that option.
Yeah, and I still think that this is the best course of action. I still think trading him is the best for both parties. I think obviously for Trey Lance, a new situation is clearly something that he needs, a fresh set of eyes, a fresh start somewhere where, there'll still be some expectations on him. But I think for the most part, I mean, it definitely won't be as high as what it was here in San Francisco. And I think from the Niners side, like I've been saying this, if Brock Purdy has a rough 2 or 3 weeks, what's the first thing everyone's going to start saying is, should we consider bringing in Trey Lance like that?
But will they do that with Darnold or no?
I don't think so. Okay. I think everybody kind of know. Like, there's not going to be some, unless Purdy plays terribly.
It's got to be noticeable. Like, we got to do something else.
Exactly. So I just think as long as Trey Lance is there, Trey just kind of has his legion of followers that are always going to clamor about, what about Trey Lance? Like, we're not getting good enough quarterback play. Lance is still on the roster. Why not try that? And I just think it's best to remove that distraction, if you will. I just think that the quarterback controversy really stops if Trey Lance isn't there. I don't think that we're going to be having season-long debates about, oh, Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold or Brandon Allen, which is the better option for them to go to. It's just not as fun of a conversation.
Yeah, it's really him. It's where he was drafted. He didn't ask for
didn't
this,
ask for it, no.
But you're right. The distraction part is, and I don't know that I don't know this at all. If internally, I don't think he's creating a stir, but
no,
you're right.
It's just media.
If Trey Lance just wasn't even on this team and they decided today, like there was a fourth quarterback, but Brandon Allen's QB3, it's like, all right, that's just the order.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're talking about Brandon Allen, worrying about Brandon Allen, unless you need to because of other injuries. But Trey Lance will still be on the minds if he stays in that org. It'll still be a topic of conversation if he's still in the organization.
Right. I mean, and I think it's completely different scenarios, but like I always use Tim Tebow as the example of just like he could have stuck around in the league and been a backup for a couple more years. But I think the media distraction was just so much that every team was like, I'm not going to deal with that for a backup quarterback. A backup quarterback should be one of the last things I'm thinking about. I'm a lot more focused on the starter. And if, it is just media, but if I have to spend time answering questions about the play of my backup quarterback, that's just not what football coaches want to do. They think that that's stupid. That's for the birds. When I want to talk about the people who are actually playing football. And I think, there is definitely an element of that. As we know, Kyle Shanahan is not one who loves addressing the media. And I think this entire quarterback conversation has been pretty exhausting for him.
Yeah. Well, this story is, as it develops, we got more. We're going to have more on this. The latest from the 49ers, we know Brock Purdy is clearly the number one. It was announced today that it looks like Sam Darnold is the number two. So what happens to Trey Lance? He's not at practice today. We'll try to read between those lines. We'll have more on that when we continue here with Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Brock Purdy looked good in his brief return to game action against the Broncos.
Fake the give right and rolling left. Firing out to Deebo Samuel at the 40, the 45, 50, into Denver territory at the 45-yard line.
Can Purdy build off that performance against the Chargers?
49ers, Chargers. Pre-game at 6, kickoff at 7.
This Friday on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
So no one could predict what Trey Lance's future will be, where it will be. It doesn't look good right now in San Francisco. Peter King, the great Peter King, yesterday speculated that, hey, maybe within 5 years it could be out of the league. It's possible, Chris. I mean, it really is. But sometimes, I mean, you really are, I don't know if victim is the right word, but you are a part of your circumstance. And what I mean by that is, if Trey Lance ends up traded or cut or no longer a Niner, fingers will be pointed right or wrong. That's just what we do. You try to figure out, well, who missed? Why? What happened here? But what I mean by your environment and why things could be your circumstances. So let's paint this picture. Niners last year were awful. Let's say 3-14, 4-13, whatever it might be. Clearly a bad team, may have high hopes for this year. I think they run out Trey Lance.
Right.
Because, well, we'll explain it. He missed the first two, or he played the first game, missed the second, and then was out the rest of the year. We drafted him high. We got some other good pieces, but we got to really know if this is our quarterback.
Exactly.
They are a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah.
And they could still be with him, but he doesn't feel like he's their best quarterback. They don't feel like he is. So, we got to go forward, and we're going forward with Brock Purdy.
Right.
So I think he's a little bit caught up in the circumstances, which generally when you get picked that high, you get picked by a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners traded up to get him. They were a good team that liked Jimmy, didn't love him, and said, we might get better at this position. We are in a spot where we can move up. Rarely with a good team, we're going to get a difference-making quarterback. That's where I think the finger pointing could go.
Right, exactly. It feels like they still I kind of always criticize teams for having the two timelines thing where they're trying to compete now but also thinking about the future. And it feels like that's kind of the situation that the Niners are in, except they're staying pot committed to current. Yes. They could think about the future and the future development of their team in the next 15 years, but it seems like, and rightfully so, I would say, they're hyper-focused on trying to get the most out of this current group of guys because they feel like they are really, really close to lifting that Lombardi trophy. And, their history would definitely say that they are right to think so. And, I think to your point, if you're thinking more about the next 5 or 10 years of 49er football, it's probably a better idea to try and figure out, okay, what is Trey Lance? Because obviously the upside of what he could be greater than what Brock Purdy can provide. He's got a bigger arm. He's faster, seems to be a little bit more mobile. Absolutely. There's a reason why he went third and Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft. But, in a win now situation, that's about who's ready to provide this team an ability to win ball games right here today.
Yeah.
And I think it's really clear that Brock Purdy is just a lot further along in his development and also provides almost exactly what Kyle Shanahan needs in his system to thrive.
Yeah, and I feel like they haven't ever been able to stick that landing. And what I mean by that is like they were the stats, if you wanted to support Jimmy G, they won all the time with him. But you got the feeling like if they could upgrade, they would. And this is what they tried to do. All right, so then you have like Brock Purdy's our guy. I don't know if it's as much as he came off injury or it's like, well, let's bring in Brandon Allen. Let's bring in Sam Darnold. Are you totally sold on Brock Purdy? Or is he just, in their terms, he processes things fast?
Exactly.
I think he gets what they're doing quicker than the other guys. Darnold's got a better arm.
Yeah.
And he's drafted very high. So it's almost like, well, maybe it'll be Darnold in the future. That's why I think they kicked the tires on, hey, can we get Rodgers? Mm-hmm. Can we get Brady? Deshaun Watson, there was rumors about talking about.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Yes, all these guys to me make a lot more sense as far as, that's QB1. That's the Niners QB for the next, on the older guys, 2 to 3 years, the younger guys, 10 years.
Right.
I still don't think they've landed that. I think they're here and now. It's Purdy.
They are here and now.
And maybe it develops into Purdy, but I feel like it's here and now with them right now in this position.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think that this is all about getting the most out of this current crop of guys. Like it's about the fact that they see this as a year to win the Super Bowl, and it's really not a time to lose 4 or 5 games because you were trying to see if Trey Lance is that guy. No, Brock Purdy provides a level of stability and comfort in their offense that I think, Kyle Shanahan is all about. Whitey continues to use the great example of, he doesn't need somebody who can, knows a technician. He doesn't need somebody who can do all of these things. He just needs somebody who's really simple, really straightforward. Just get it out on time, on target. Yeah. That's all I need you to do. And that's what Brock Purdy can provide right now. Would Trey Lance in 3 or 4 years, does he have the capabilities to be light years ahead of Brock Purdy? Sure he does. But where he's at right now is nowhere close to where Brock is at that, at that specific area of his game. But, if you look at, to juxtapose this situation with that of like the Indianapolis Colts, who just went with, okay, Gardner Minshew probably gives us a better chance to win in week 1.
Yeah.
But we also recognize that Anthony Richardson, if that works out and if we give him the runway to kind of, whatever, if he figures it out in week 12, that's fine for us. We don't really have many aspirations of winning this year, and him figuring it out in week 12 as opposed to figuring it out in week 3 of next season because we started Minshew for half the year. That's a lot better for the next, again, 5 to 10 years of Indianapolis Colts football than does that kind of make sense 100%. In the parallels?
Because it sets you back. Let's go to the Packers. And when they drafted Jordan Love, you're like, well, he's clearly behind Aaron Rodgers. They're not going to play him over him.
Right.
And they've been able to groom him and teach and grow. But if he's not good this year and next year, they're restarting, and that feels like a 5-year waste. Now, they had Rodgers with some MVP years in there,
right?
But this was going to be the next one, and you have to reboot. So on one counter, though, and I get why the Niners are doing this, but could you also argue, I mean, I know you could argue this point, but does it make sense to go, we're really good everywhere else. We are uncertain about Trey. We get it. But could they almost go for it? Unless they think there's just not enough of a high ceiling. Because you could go, I think we're winning at a lot of positions, and he can play the position. He's not a joke.
Yeah, no.
But, and maybe doesn't process as fast as Brock.
Right.
Doesn't have the same arm as Sam. But, you know, we drafted him high. We see elements. We've coached him for 2+ years.
Yeah.
Can we get to 11-6 and get to the playoffs? And we got the reps he needed, and now we've got our firm answer as opposed. And I'm not saying this is the right thing to do.
Right.
But couldn't they? I don't know. Could that have been an avenue?
So yes, I definitely think so.
Might have been dumb.
I
but
could be wrong, but I think if anything, that's kind of the antennas start to go up, red
that he's
flags,
not good enough?
that he's just not good enough, because that's a totally logical conclusion to come to. It's like, okay, wait, so if you're telling me your team all around is ready
Best
to be
defense,
Super Bowl,
skill players everywhere, good special teams, seemingly experience.
What you're describing is a perfect situation for a quarterback to walk into, and you're telling me he cannot play in a perfect situation. So much so that you're just like, we should trade him.
Yeah.
Behind, again,
and he's not even QB2.
Not even QB2 behind Sam Darnold, the
And
guy
yet-
that we just know who he is at this point.
The same guy who you gave the job to last year, maybe thinking that we're that good everywhere else.
Yeah.
Again, in the game you gave him, Monsoon wasn't great, but he whatever, and then broke his leg.
Right.
Like, what did we learn?
What changed?
Yeah.
Also, what I mean,
and now
besides
he's
the
3
fact
with
that-
bringing in 2 other quarterbacks.
So it also makes me think, like, last year, was it they are shooing in Trey Lance just to see if it worked?
Maybe it
or
was.
did they always think even last year? Because again, what was really the difference between Brock Purdy didn't have an offseason. He did not get better at the quarterback position this offseason. He didn't train, I mean, I'm sure he was running around, but didn't get to throw the ball this offseason. Did they think Brock Purdy was better than Trey Lance last year? Like, I mean, that's a useless exercise to try and go through, but how long have they really been feeling that this just isn't a workable situation? I don't know, but this is clearly coming towards some conclusion here really, really soon, it seems like.
Yeah. And whether or not Trey Lance is traded soon, definitely people like Emil, Matt Barros, Matt Miyoko, the people that come, David Lombardi, that press conference or today's whoever speaks on behalf of the Niners, that where the questions are.
Yes,
people want to know.
Where was Trey? I mean, that's question number one. Where was Trey Lance?
And they can't skirt that one. We got to know where he was. We're going to talk about that more. We got more to get to. Again, still the crossover too is we're going to have Kyle Draper this afternoon with Whitey Gleason. They will be joining us in the last segment. But we got more on this developing story with the 49ers, their QB ladder here. It is Brock Purdy 1, Sam Darnold 2, I guess Brandon Allen 3. We don't know. And where is Trey Lance? We've got that when we come back next.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda. I'm Dirk Verdorn in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, and sunny skies today and a bit of a north breeze, helping to bump temperatures into the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. Expect to have a warm evening tonight. Get the latest forecasts on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Players know it's not just because you win more. It's because of everything else at Gold Country Casino Resort, where players roll in and winners are made. Winning isn't the only thing on the menu, and nightlife, it's more than entertaining. Drinks and dining options are abundant, and guaranteed to satisfy your innermost desires. Come be our guest and see why Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville is where the players play.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlad with your Sactown Sports headlines. According to the NFL Network's Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, the 49ers named quarterback Sam Darnold as the backup quarterback. Adding to that news, Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area is reporting that Trey Lance is not on the practice field right now. The Niners have their final preseason game this Friday against the Chargers against the Chargers. You can listen to Friday's game right here on Sactown Sports. The Oakland A's will try and get their second 3-game sweep of the season today when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Adrian Martinez is on the mound for the A's, and they currently trail the Royals 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Your secret admirer. I've been watching you.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Am I the only person who didn't know this song before it became a
challenge?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Darn it. Now I'm blanking.
Remember, you're not a big music person.
Not a big
but I will
Or
say
movies.
this. I don't think I was on with you many times, but one time.
Yeah.
And we were talking music.
Yes, we
and
were.
I'm going to get the guy's name.
Tom
but
Misch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
They didn't like it. They were not fans.
Oh,
of
then
the
I went back
room.
and listened. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
There was a couple of them that were really good.
Vibration Station. Oh, Ed Sheeran was on my mind. I hate you.
Chris Verlad, from the Whitey and Watkins show library of drops, I feel like there's a proportionate number for Chris Watkins. Does he just give more gems?
Oh, yeah. Have you listened to Chris talk?
Just always have Ja Rule on the top of my mind. Man, God, I hate you so much.
Okay, play 5 just random ones in a row, just different things.
Just different of whatever? Or
yeah, it doesn't even, I mean, you try to play them when they make sense of topic. Just, I don't know, just rifle away. Just hit me with one here, just to hear another one.
This seems like a cash
Oh,
grab.
I like that one. That's not a Chris special, though.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
Oh, so
You're
you
not
want
that
Chris?
guy.
Yeah, I don't want Chrisisms.
Oh,
Okay, there's one.
that was one time.
It's a good noise.
I make
though.
a lot of noises. I need to stop.
Yeah. There's some that Chris was telling us about earlier that
you just got continental, son. that almost turned.
That almost sounded different.
Did you get Jason's cut yesterday, Chris?
Jason's cut yesterday. Yeah, let me grab that real quick.
Yeah. Thank you.
What did I have? I'm sure.
It was golden. It was one where
was it
you and Whitey were talking back and forth, and you said something, and literally as I was about to text Chris, like, Chris, you have to cut that. He was like, I think he said
did.
On air. He was like, thank you, Whitey, for not saying anything.
Yes. He did. Now I can't remember what it was.
You'll find out.
Taste of Dave this morning.
Play that again.
I got a little taste of Dave this morning.
It's like Paul Pierce. I don't want a taste. I want the whole thing.
Yeah. It was great when Dave
he gets hit in the no spot.
Dave's dad was on briefly for one real quick thing, and then he made like a noise like that. And then when Dave's son was in, like they fired the sound. He goes, "Is that Papa?" Like he just knew right away that it was his grandpa. That was great.
That's hilarious.
But
that's so
sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Jason Ross, Chris Watkins. This is Whitey and Watkins. You guys are back together again tomorrow and on Friday the rest of the week. And I will retire my time knowing that I am a 2-time undefeated champ of the leather.
You weren't even looking at the basket.
You're going to get a lot of use out of that one.
Yes. As we roll on the latest news here, and again, Whitey will be in here with Kyle Draper in just a moment. In fact, the next segment, breaking this afternoon about a couple different things 49ers related. It started with the fact that it looked like, according to reports, Sam Darnold was named the number 2 quarterback. Okay, not stunning there. What's become stunning is the afternoon practice is still going on right now. Everyone that's out there has said, wait a minute, there's 3 quarterbacks, not 4. Where is Trey Lance? So Lance not at practice at the moment. This from Diana Rossini a little while ago.
Yeah.
While the 49ers are exploring trade possibilities for Trey Lance, the front office has been shopping him for much of the offseason. According to a league source, the team never received a significant trade offer. But now,
interesting.
But now it's like, okay, maybe the game has changed. And maybe some people were watching the Niners quarterback room and saying, well, they've got 4. Are they going to keep all 4? If one of those guys becomes available, can we do something here? Are they going to cut one, waive one? Who knows? But I think, if anything, if they're looking to move on from Trey Lance, I think their best bet is to try to trade him and see what they can get.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that Diana's saying that they've been shopping Trey Lance because, if I'm not mistaken, one John Lynch said at the beginning of training camp, we have not, teams have called us, but we haven't picked up the phone
Kinda
and asked anyone.
Yeah,
he was like, no, we haven't picked up the phone and asked anyone for offers for Trey. No, we still are fully committed to the development of Trey Lance. And that reporting is to the complete contrary. And it does seem like, that makes the most sense. I think a lot of teams are at this point in the season pretty okay with the team that they've built. And it's kind of tough to add in such a big position at this point in the season. Like, if you're trading for Trey Lance at this point, you're not bringing him in as someone who's probably going to get any playing time anytime soon, because he's got to adjust to a new team. He's got to learn a new playbook. He's got to learn just a ton of stuff, especially at the quarterback position, that you just can't learn when there's a week left before the season starts.
What would be a worse thing for the organization to have happen? Trey Lance gets dealt wherever, it doesn't even matter, pick a team, and he becomes a guy.
Yeah.
Or if Jimmy G has a great year with a great year with the Raiders.
I think it's still Trey Lance, because Trey could have been your guy for the future. And if he ends
Jimmy have been? They never
to an
loved
extent,
him
but
enough.
it never felt like that was going to be a marriage that lasted long. There was always always looking on for the next one.
Yeah, he was the bridge. A good one though. Like, I don't want to just again, we can rip him apart, but he did some good things for there. But now you move on.
It'll still hurt. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo plays really well this year, Niner fans are going to hear it and they're going to feel it too, whether they want to admit it or not. But if Trey is good, you're telling me we spent all those assets. We made the pick and went through this whole saga just to end up not waiting long enough, essentially, for him to eventually pan out. Like, I think that's the one that really just drives the stake in your heart, because that could have been your guy the next 10 to 15 years. And, you can just talk yourself into why that could have happened here. That could have happened in this situation. And, I think that there's a lot of people who still, will call and say that they believe Trey Lance even still can be the guy for this team. And I don't believe that it was ever going to work here in San Francisco after what happened last year. And, I think that it's probably worse for Niner fans. It hurts more if Trey has success outside of here.
And I know they gave up a lot. Where were they originally? 10th in that draft?
I think something like that.
I think they were 10th, and there was some thought, could they get a quarterback if, because could Fields drop? Could Mac Jones, whatever.
Well, there is that as well.
Trey Lance.
If they didn't want to, if they didn't have to trade up to get, if maybe Lance, if they wanted him, but they could have stuck at their position and still gotten
Micah
Justin
Parsons.
Fields, could have gotten Micah Parsons. I mean, there's real talent that they could have had if they just stuck at the spot and waited, but they decided to move up. And I think that's kind of where, the frustration, I think rightfully so, can kind of seep in.
Yeah. I don't know that it's unpredictable how it got to here, but just the developments from it seems like a 3 QB battle to, okay, it's Purdy. Yeah. What's QB2 to wait, is he
on the team?
Is he going to be on the team?
Yeah.
Like quickly. This happened quickly.
Yeah. Very, very quickly.
To us. Maybe it didn't to them, but it did to us.
I mean, he was practicing as of yesterday.
Yeah. Started the first preseason game, led the game. I mean, for what it's worth, game-winning drive last Saturday.
They play a game this weekend. I mean, and also the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, reporters aren't going to be back with the team until the season starts at practice. So the fact that this is happening, I think, a day or two before the last day that they could have hit it.
Wanted to.
Exactly. And so it's really interesting. They're not even going to give him a chance in this last preseason game. Like after the comeback victory of last week, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it makes you think, like, did Trey's performance last week leading them on that essentially game-winning drive, did they kind of say, that's the best he's going to look. Yeah. Let's wrap him up now. That's the guy that you're getting. Out. You don't need to see anything else.
Hey, guy. Yeah, I know you're interested. Did you see what he just did?
You see that?
Yeah.
We could, he could have thrown a touchdown on that last drive.
We just and a fifth round.
Kneeled it. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think there could be a bit of that, but definitely. I mean, it's really weird timing. It's weird that it just got sprung up and seemingly with no warning.
Yeah.
I wonder if Trey had any warning. I mean, I assume we're going to find out today, but the fact he's not at practice today seems to hint that he had some idea, but I mean, it really just kind of seems like it got sprung on everybody.
I wish for him, for his sake, that he still has a good career ahead of him, but I don't know if that'll happen.
At the end of this too, this has been a bad look for the Niners. Yeah. Like from a PR perspective, from how they've kind of handled this situation in total. Like,
they better win a lot, which they should, but that'll be forgotten if Purdy's good and they win a lot.
Right. Absolutely. That winning cures all, as they say, but it feels like, they are setting themselves up to, if there's a disappointing season or even if it's out of their hands, if Brock Purdy sustains another injury or something, like, they're going to catch a lot of flack.
They were kind of there last year in a sense. I mean, like Purdy, they agreed that Lance was their guy, but Jimmy had won a bunch of games for them, and then they, by injury, got to go to him.
Yeah.
And then he gets hurt, and then Purdy happens to be great for them.
Right.
So they kind of got bailed out a little bit.
Yeah,
so
they backed into this whole situation.
We shall see. All right, we got one more segment to go. It is the crossover.
It is.
Yes. Whitey will be here. He's here now. Actually.
He's right there.
He's over there.
Yeah.
Kyle Draper will be here. We'll also hear from Chris Verlaud. We have story time.
Ooh.
We got a lot to get to in one final segment. That is straight ahead here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Enjoy the prime grilling season today with a new lifetime warranty Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My personal Napoleon P500 series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro. Napoleon Prestige grills, versatile grilling for every occasion. Form, function, and luxury can come in the same package. Just go to your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply for the best selection today, or visit Napoleon.com for a dealer near you.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you ready to cruise into the new school year in style? Look no further than Elk Grove Kia's Back to School sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 Forte 24-month lease of $149 plus tax with $41.30 required at signing, residual of $15,256 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, zero security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8921 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K5 24-month lease of $299 plus tax with $47.12 required at signing, residual of $21,782 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, zero security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers, a plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia. Trade up to the newest technology with a low payment. Shop Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
All right, the final segment of the show, time for the crossover. This is Whitey and Watkins. They're both here, but they weren't on the show together. But Whitey will be here with Kyle Draper. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, man? Who makes the schedule? I mean, I
know Brian left town. He made the schedule. Left town.
Right. I'm
really,
like,
wow.
hold on here. Doesn't Whitey have a show already? Why is he coming on my show 2 to 6 hour?
Yeah.
Stay on that 10 to 2, big fella. You know what
with
I mean?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be in the morning, but I'm here in the midday. And then tomorrow. Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah. It's been a whole thing.
Yeah. How are you guys?
Good. I got to say, I was listening coming in, and I heard it was like a train coming in the distance. You guys were talking about the Kings, and then that conversation went to nicknames, and I knew that Verlad was going to bring up his Duarte nickname. And it's like, you were like, what? I don't know. And I could just hear it. Choo, choo. Here it comes. Get off the track. Get out of the way. And then Maple Fuerte, and you were just kind of, okay.
It didn't land. Have you heard that one?
No, that's the first time I'm hearing it.
See?
What is it again, Verlad? Hold up.
Maple Fuerte.
And because I think you have to explain it. That's why I'm like, it's
too
good,
late.
but
it's too late.
Apparently, I'm the only Chris Duarte fan,
No.
me and Chris, because we know about his Canadian roots that nobody else knows about.
I was knowing about the Dominican Republic. I didn't
I'm
know
not
about
even sure he knows about his
He was born in Canada. Was he there for a day? Born there and gone?
I mean, I'd want to be Canadian.
There's some varying reports.
Yeah.
So anyway, heard that one comes like, get out of the way, J. Ross.
Yeah.
Aboard.
I got hit by the train.
Yeah.
The
Fuerte train.
Yeah. What's coming up on your show today, guys?
I believe Mr. Matt Barnes is going to be joining
us.
We got Matt Barnes scheduled. I'm trying to readjust him, though, with this breaking 49ers news now. You know, we had him scheduled for early in our show. So, but we got to talk some Kings basketball, man.
For sure.
And Kobe Bryant's birthday. And Matt Barnes and Kobe were super tight, too. So I would love Matt to tell some Kobe stories.
You got to ask him about that.
Yes.
There's like that scene of, I'm sure
I
that's
really
like,
have to ask. He's told that story a million times.
The Carlton doing the Carlton.
We will settle it once and for all. How about that?
Yeah.
We will settle it once and for all.
He wasn't throwing it at him.
You don't think so?
You've seen like the other the other.
It's really close from the one angle.
Yeah, no, but have you seen the other angle?
The
other angle, he's like not even close to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even
Don't
close.
listen to Verla.
Yeah, I never did.
You know what else Mr. Draper wants to weigh in on that you and I went back and forth on yesterday? The whole Steph Magic thing.
Oh, okay. This is such a joke of a debate.
Okay.
Like, and I don't want to give away all my info and all my takes about this, but why are we even talking about
It's De'Aaron.
Exactly. Exactly.
How is everybody missing this?
Exactly. So, we'll get into that also.
Okay. Well, that's good. What do you guys think about this breaking Niners news and Trey Lance? Will he?
Well, where is Trey? That coined the phrase "trade Lance" weeks ago.
Yeah.
You might be onto something here.
Seems like it. I mean, it just seems like it's an inevitability at this point. I mean,
rightly or wrongly, it's been headed that way for a while now.
Could he not be in the league, as Peter King suggests, in 5 years?
You could say that about anybody.
That's
it's the
true.
NFL,
Besides the injury, but it's happened before.
Nah, but he'll get another shot. I said this before on a recent show. This is like Markelle Fultz in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He needs to get out, go somewhere else. This whole San Francisco 49ers situation, it was doomed from the start, whether it's injuries. He's fallen out of favor with Shanahan. I think Shanahan's not a favorite of his. So, go somewhere else and hopefully rehabilitate yourself like Markelle did.
Yeah.
You guys feel like Purdy is the guy? Like in 5 years from now, are we talking about Brock Purdy still being this team's quarterback?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
And still no Super Bowls. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, that'd be a killer. And Bosa's got to sign. Like, is he signed yet? Is this
I
like
know.
a misdirection? Look over here.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy. And we've signed, or not Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. And today we've signed.
He's going to sign right before the season starts.
Yeah.
And people are going to go, oh, no, well, John Lynch said he's got to be in here 3 weeks before the opening day. It's like, well, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he'll be there. And the other thing is everyone thinks John Lynch is in charge of this. This is all Shanahan's the one running everything.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that misconstrue that and think
even
Lynch
the
is pulling
defense and the
string.
money and all that.
Shanahan is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Lynch can do what he wants, but only if Kyle says, all right.
Kyle's the last say.
Yeah, he's the final say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are you? Do you play fantasy football?
I do.
If you
haven't
had
my
a
draft.
Oh, you've already had one?
We just did our
That's too
draft
early, isn't it?
Saturday.
It's too early.
Yeah,
It feels too early.
It is too early. Guys get hurt.
Yeah.
See what happens with Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
You just don't know.
What pick did you have?
So it's a 10-team league, and I had 10th.
Do you
10.
like that?
Snake draft?
Yeah,
Do
so you
that,
had 10 and
back
11,
to back?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do because last year I had the number one pick. It was Jonathan
kind of the
Taylor.
same thing, too. Yeah.
It was Taylor.
Yeah.
And so my number
Killed
one
you.
overall pick
Barely played.
barely played. And
Right.
so he was terrible. And so I did like having
So
the back-to-back on the back end of it.
yeah.
I think like the 5th or 6th pick.
It's
is
a
like
good
the
spot.
one to
Right.
get.
Yeah. Because the problem is when you have 10 or 1, it's like you have to wait so long until your next
Yeah.
pick comes by that you almost have to be thinking, okay, like I might want to go here, but he probably isn't going to be available there. It's
But,
just like,
but here's the reason why 10 is the best pick. You get 2 of the top 11 guys.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
If you're number 5, sure, you get one of the top 5 guys, but then on the back end, you get 2 of the top 15 or
Right.
something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so this way, I got 2 of the top 11
Yeah.
guys.
I botched my
But if
draft.
I've got the 5th pick, I get one of the top 5 picks and one of the top 15 picks.
Ooh, Verlad. Wow.
He's a fantasy football champ.
I wanted to take Jonathan Taylor
Numbers
last
are hard.
year.
I
I
was
ended
just
up
about to say.
accidentally taking Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who's a
Oh.
kid from Roseville
Yeah.
who was on Home Improvement. And
Oh.
he got me nothing.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, it was a bad,
Not even a bye week play or anything like
Yes.
that? No?
It's just a bad pick, and that's on me.
So when you're picking 10th, is this a reflection of last year? Did you win, or were you as a random order,
No, I
or did you finish last?
runner-up last year.
Runner-up, okay.
Runner-up
Oh,
last
nice.
year.
Wow.
And I'm the type, too, I sort of go by the rankings. I
Okay,
don't
that's
try to
fine.
overthink
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Sure.
Bill Belichick in the war room, got the scouting reports. You know what? If they say this guy's the 8th best player or the 15th best
Take him.
player, I'm going to take him.
There's a reason why auto draft people usually end
Yeah,
up in
they
the
do
playoffs.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always end up doing okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think the waiver wire pickups throughout the season,
Yes.
that's where you can make your money.
Absolutely.
That's
the
where you
first
can make
month of the
moves.
season.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It
I mean,
is.
if you want to do it well, it's a lot of work.
No, absolutely. There's a reason why, people are like obsessed with their fantasy football teams because it does leak into your actual day. It's like, sorry, honey, I got to wake up I got to make sure I'm still up
my
at
roster
midnight
set.
because that's when free agency
It becomes
opens.
your reality. The fantasy
Exactly.
football becomes your reality.
100%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Drafts are won in the later rounds and in the pickups. They really are.
Absolutely.
How about either of you guys do the Eliminator, Survivor pool, those kind of things?
I used to, not
We have
anymore.
one here at
I don't do it anymore.
I haven't in a while.
It's been a while.
It's so
Didn't you
tough.
go anti on it? You did it once, then stopped it, or did you ever do it?
I did it once and then stopped it.
Yeah. I think you lost in week 1. That's what did it to you.
It's so tough.
It's really
Yeah.
frustrating.
So
Yeah,
tough.
you lose one of the first 3 weeks, and I start to think, I'm horrible.
Yeah, I'm dumb.
person.
Yeah.
It's really well. And the worst is, and Jason, definitely, we've talked about this before, but it's like you'll save. Oh, I'm going to save the Chiefs because they play.
Yeah.
Whatever they play the Houston Texans week 6, and it's like you're going to hold on to them in your pocket, and then you lose with them in your pocket.
Right.
It's
right.
like I should have just used the Chiefs.
It's like having
in week
timeouts
2.
at the end of the game.
Exactly.
You know, you should have just used it.
Use it.
Saving
Yeah.
those.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure the rest out later. But use the best teams early and make sure you survive as long as you can.
So, Chris, apparently the problem you have with it is that you overthink it.
Chris, I hate you. I hate you so much. Yes. I tend to.
Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah. I can't believe
Well, there's one of these at the station. If you guys want in this year, we'll,
Yeah.
we can get you guys in.
It's a big pool.
And it's
Is it really?
It's really the first week. That's the problem. Like a lot of people get eliminated on the first week. The one that very first time I ever heard about it, my brother worked at the Capitol years and years and years ago. The Niners won the Super Bowl. They were coming back from the Super Bowl. They were hosting either they were year 1 or year 2, the Carolina Panthers, Steve Young, these guys, they were like 18-point favorites. I think they had like 1,000 people in this pool, and the Niners lost in week 1, and it knocked out like 900 of the 1,000 people. But that was a sure thing. The Niners were going to beat Carolina at home, and you can get knocked out.
Drapes, do you know how many fantasy leagues the guy who runs everything here?
Oh, yes.
Brian, do you know how many fantasy leagues he's been in by his own admission?
No, he said he
Take a
is
guess.
in.
Yeah, what's
he
your
is
guess?
Currently in
Yes.
at one time.
Yes.
Yeah, at one time.
5.
That's a good
That
guess.
seems like a lot,
That's
doesn't
a
it?
lot.
Double it, and you're still short. 12.
Who has time for that?
Apparently he does. Didn't he say he was doing a college football one? He goes,
Yes,
oh, it's just
college
power.
football
He goes,
one?
oh, no,
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
Power 5. I'm like, it doesn't
That
matter.
doesn't
Just
matter.
Power 5.
Yeah.
Let's see. TCU wide receiver.
Right.
How do
That's
you know all that
ridiculous.
stuff?
That's ridiculous.
No idea.
Scary.
Yeah, it is.
But he told us what is. Oh, guys, I'm down to 7.
Yeah, I
Isn't that
think
what he
he's
said?
yeah,
He
down
was
to
so
7.
proud
Down this year.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
there's
a
no
lot.
way you make money, right? I mean, you
Right.
even if you let's say you do 15, you go 8 and 7, you win 8, lose 7. I mean,
Yeah. And too many things you
4
hit.
and 9,
That's the problem.
yeah,
It's like-
yeah, whatever. Yeah,
You end up rooting for people, and then it's like, oh, I'm actually going against
Right, I'm
them
going
in
against
3
them.
other leagues, and it's like you can't root.
Does this guy
or-
have a wife and kids? Does he have a
No,
family?
not
See,
currently.
see,
Yeah,
there you
there
go.
it
There
is.
you go.
Yeah,
You
we
got
found the
time.
answer.
At
Yeah.
some point, you either go, you probably root more for the one that's the most money.
And what does he do here?
He's the big boss.
He runs it
He
all.
runs it.
No, I mean like the guy. Like, what's his actual job?
Oh, fantasy job. That's all he does.
Because he's not doing any real work,
Yeah,
obviously.
right.
You
I
know,
think we're
it's
onto
like-
something.
yeah.
I think he sets that
No
schedule during the
family,
week.
exactly.
And
No
then
job, really. You know,
Not even here.
in his
he's
mom's
golfing today.
basement. I mean, what else is he supposed to be doing?
Wow. That's
Sorry
good.
about who
That's
this
good.
is. I apologize.
Fine, he's not here.
Yeah, exactly. He's golfing. He's living his best life
Yeah.
today.
Good for him.
So, all right, you guys got a full show coming up. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you where I would bet money, not my money, but maybe Verlad's money, where Trey Lance is going to end up.
oh, you got a team? in mind?
I think so.
Oh,
Is it in the NFL?
I know, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Do I
right.
know for sure?
Yeah.
But I have.
Oh, could that be a hint?
I don't
We
know.
will find out. All right. He is Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper. They are coming up next.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris Watkins. That
Thank
was
you.
fun. You guys are back tomorrow. Thank you, Chris Verlad. That's it for us right here on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com. See ya.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
I mean, look, I had no problems with Skal. Good for him. Awesome. Come on.